It is 6 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Tennessee Titans news yesterday, the Titans have waived 2022 first-round draft pick wide receiver Treylon Burks, who suffered a fractured right clavicle during open practice this past Saturday at Nissan Stadium. In a corresponding move, the Titans officially announced the signing of former Tennessee Vols and Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Ramel Keaton to the roster. If no one does claim Burks on waivers, however, he would revert back to the Titans on injured reserve. Today, the Titans put on pads for the first time in training camp and hit the practice field this morning at 8 a.m. Head coach Brian Callahan will speak to the media ahead of practice at 7:40, and you can hear that right here on the show. In other NFL news, the Indianapolis Colts have agreed to terms with left tackle Bernard Raymond on a 4-year, $100 million extension. That includes $60 million in guarantees. The Denver Broncos and wide receiver Cortland Sutton agreed to a 4-year, $92 million extension. Sutton gets the new deal after setting a career high with 81 receptions and getting his second 1,000-yard receiving season in his career. The Titans will play Sutton and the Broncos Week 1 in Denver. And the Dallas Cowboys starting left tackle Tyler Guyton went down with what was feared to be an ACL tear in practice yesterday. However, after an MRI test revealed that the 2024 first-round pick instead has a bone fracture, will miss 4 to 6 weeks, but he will not require surgery. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning on Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast, high atop Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. This is the first padded practice of Tennessee Titans Training Camp 2025. We've got a new perspective, and we are excited to bring all of practice to you here this morning. Brian Callahan meets with the media in hour number 2. Austin Price kicking off Vols fall camp in hour 3. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045 from atop the terrace here at St. Thomas Sports Park. Ramon Foster, we have got a crow's nest perspective on the first padded practice of training camp. What's going on?
Well, this is the best view you could have right here. If you're watching film or in games, like I love, like people say they're at the 50-yard line, first row. Wrong. Okay, absolutely wrong in those situations. You want to be midway up where you can scale and see the entire field, man. Scan and see the entire field and just see the play develop, see guys' reaction. We might see somebody get absolutely smashed up here that we wouldn't see at ground level right now. And that's what a day like today is going to be, Will. It's physical. It's going to be fun. This is how I watch tape right here is what I'm telling you. You see this view, and it is by far one of the best ones where you can really break down an offense, defense, and this is where the coaches really live the life. The eye in the sky don't lie.
For the first time, you and I are going to have a full practice to watch today.
Finally.
Because practice will end when our show ends. Very kind of Brian Callahan and the Tennessee Titans to just say, you know what, let's throw Ramon and Will a bone. Let's let those two just watch all the practice, just give some observations, give some takes, and be able to really tell the people what's going on. So if you were out there listening this morning and you're thinking, man, I wish there was some kind of live stream, some updates, some analysis of camp in real time. Well, look no further than Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee.
Will, it's going to be a good time up here is what I'm telling you. I'm more excited today than I ever have been, even any of the years we've been out here at training camp, because, again, it's so much chaos. It can be chaotic on the sideline. I think, of course, like most NFL teams, they bring fans in. The fans will block your view from time to time. But as much as we can possibly narrate for you guys with the view that we have today, we will. I'm looking at Big Bertha and Olga down there right now. Like, we can really see guys work through that. I know we'll ask the question or to have the conversation about what we're expecting on a day like today. And to be quite honest with you, Will, it's a lot. Just because of the viewpoint that we're able to see right now. We can really scan one side of the field to the other. But I tell you what, and having some friends still around the NFL, What I will say is this. The coaches have been ready for these days. I think some teams have had them before today. Cowboys were in there, as I know Tampa had theirs. But a lot of coaches have been salivating more than the players have to get pads on. Full pads, that is.
Which coach do you think is most excited this morning?
Coach Bill Callahan.
Yeah?
Bill Callahan, easily. Him and Frank Bush, those are my two guys, I would think, more than anything. There's going to be I want to give the lead on what I want to talk about because this ain't one of my main points, but I would expect a guy who's made a dramatic change and transformation in his body, Jeffrey Simmons, to really want to show what it looks like today. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would be testy with him. You know why? I would want to see immediately, can I move him off the ball with the double team? If I'm Dan Moore and if I'm Peter Skoronski, listen to me. Screw the linebacker. I want to see is he lighting the tail right now. And I doubt it, but I just got, it's like don't touch the stove. Uh-huh. It's the don't touch the stove concept for me right now with Jeff.
Well, Jeffrey Simmons has a new car he's driving around. It's a little bit less of a supercharged truck and now a little bit more of a big muscle car.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see how he is able to handle the different kind of horsepower that he's got. Literally. I mean, it truly is like going from driving a big truck that takes a little bit longer to go 0 to 60, but might have more horsepower overall, to one that's going to get a little bit more giddy up.
Yeah.
One that's going to go a little bit more when you put the pedal to the metal, but overall might not have as much total horsepower.
That 0 to 60 is a little bit quicker right now.
It is.
Which is he goes from pulling trailers wheel to now he's got some wide wheels and a great stance is what you're telling me. What we need to make sure is that rear end don't spin out is what you tell him.
Well, we need to make sure no Georgia players are getting behind the wheel of that new car. 615-737-1045 is our number. We stream the show live on 1045 The Zone TV for you. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. High atop Ascension St. Thomas Ports Park. Not only do we have Titans observations for you this morning, we also, Ramon Foster, as Robert Walsh, graces us with his presence. We got the beginning of Vols fall camp today.
Yes, man. A meeting took place. I can't wait to talk to Austin about that, if he's got any details for us, because this is the spot that you come to, Will, for all Vols information. Do you hear me in breaking news? So we'll be first up with Austin, who's very close to that organization and should be able to tell us some stuff. But, like, first day of fall ball, they don't do it, if I'm not mistaken, in Gibbs anymore because Gibbs isn't there on camp.
Gibbs no longer exists.
In the dorm rooms is what I'm saying. But those days, I'll never forget, man. I'm always nervous before training camps. That's probably going to be my first thing. Just nervous about, like, how early you're supposed to get up. This is your first test into really chasing your dreams as a collegiate athlete, man, as an amateur. And there still are amateurs because there is a difference between the NFL and what college is. But, dog, my introduction to that horn, and I was on the top floor of Gibbs, too. So I had to, like, walk all the way down the steps. There was no taking the elevator, walk all the way down, walk all the way up, go over to the indoor facility to get ready for, at that point, 3-4 weeks of hell, to be quite honest with you, Will, especially in college, man. There's a difference in college and NFL training, and it starts right here. The trainers in college go a little bit harder because they know they're going to have you next year. NFL is probably not so much. You can end guys' careers if you go too hard. Well, in college, if you get hurt, well, you'll rehab and we'll see you back on the field again. It's kind of the way it goes. NFL, if you get players hurt in situations where they need to be readily available for the field, people start looking at you sideways about your job a little bit. So college camps I always felt was just a little bit harder, just on the basis of there was no rules and payment back in my day, though, too. So, but we had true two-a-days, too. I dealt with that all through college and 2 years in the NFL.
Back when I was a boy.
Oh, my Lord.
Back when I was in school, you walked uphill both ways to practice.
Lindsey Nelson Field, too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where we held it at.
The intel suggests that there is growing optimism Boo Carter is going to be a part of this Tennessee football team. We'll get more on that from Austin Price at 8:20 this morning. It appears that he is in East Tennessee and that he is in Knoxville And we await official word that he is going to be on this team, or official reporting that he is going to be on this team as we know it from people in the know. And Austin Price is as much a person in the know as anyone. So we will get his insider perspective on that whole situation and on Tennessee fall camp that opens with a lot of different faces, a lot of different expectations, a lot of first-year players, a lot of first-year starters, something like 40 redshirt freshmen and freshmen that are on this team. They're going to play major roles. So as we sit atop Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park today, we've got our eyes on Knoxville as well.
We do, man. That 40-plus players, young fellas playing, man. I always go young fellas or the youths, man. What's wrong with me out here, Will?
Just getting older. Getting wiser.
My vocabulary and my music is changing, though.
I mean, as of yesterday, I'm in my late 20s now, not mid-20s, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, you are, man. But I'll tell you about my music in a minute. But it's funny, though. I always said and wanted this college coaches, play your guys you recruit. You walk into those houses, those high schools, and tell those kids, like, yeah, we're going to develop you to play. Now, I understand the dynamic of experience, what it means to teams, what it means to not just be a redshirt freshman, but to have a redshirt junior that understands the game and can take advantage of players and stuff like that. So I absolutely get it. But as many of those 4 and 5 stars that UT has, they've recruited and got to commit, I like the idea of keeping those guys in-house like that, man, as much as possible. Now, what you fear is this. They play as a redshirt freshman or a redshirt sophomore and hit the portal again. But if you don't play them, they're in positions where they probably get upset about playing time. It's such a delicate process, man, on how these coaches got to go about managing rosters at this point, man. I do not envy it in a world that I don't exist is what I'm getting at, but that takes a lot, man, away from your sleep is the way I look at it.
From Adams Parks yesterday, Tennessee's 2025 preseason roster as fall camp begins. 29 freshmen plus 24 redshirt freshmen. That's 53 of the 109 players playing for Tennessee this year. 49% of them freshmen. That is the highest percentage of a Josh Heupel coach team in his tenure at Tennessee. Going back to 2021, that team had 32% freshmen. Last season, Tennessee 40% freshmen with 49 of 124. This year, 53 of 109. 615-737-1045. How you jump in. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling, Kirby Allen Kirby, and Robert Walsh here in person. Justin Hawkins back at our 1045 The Zone studios on the SeatGeek Terrace today, high above Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, as you broadcast live from the first padded practice of Tennessee Titans training camp. Coming up, who needs a good week? Who are you watching, Ramon Foster, as padded practices begin? We'll talk about that, plus the news of Monday. Treylon Burks' time as a Tennessee Titan is over, and we'll talk about it next.
At Genesis Diamonds is not just in the name. Diamonds are in their DNA. They dream about diamonds. They obsess about diamonds. Diamonds are their life, okay? They go through the ends of the earth to get you the best diamonds. They look at probably 100 colors and pick just a few of them to bring back to the showroom. They make sure every diamond has a certain sparkle and brilliance. They have every diamond graded by the world's most prestigious gem labs. They look way beyond the 4 C's to guarantee it's not just acceptable, it's extraordinary. The experts at Genesis are passionate about diamonds, and they will show you all the inside tips and tricks on how to maximize your value. You're not going to get this level of quality or expertise at any other store, certainly not at one of those big corporate chains, all right? Genesis is your source for hand-picked GIA-certified diamonds at the guaranteed best price. They'll have ovals, rounds, princess cuts, emerald cuts, heart shapes, pear shapes, cushion cups from a half a carat to 20 carats if you want to. And to properly showcase these exquisite diamonds, Genesis has the designer setting that other stores cannot get. All the big name bridal designers have picked Genesis as their trusted partner. It's a no-brainer. Genesis is the source here for a ring you can be proud of, whether you're getting married soon or have been together for decades. Genesis Diamonds with no compromise. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, kicking off your Tuesday morning here live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Get that Scooters Coffee mobile app. Go by and see them. They're locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Scooters Coffee, amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. The Tennessee Titans yesterday made it official. Treylon Burks' time as a wide receiver for this organization is over. They waived/injured. They waived Treylon Burks with an injury designation yesterday and signed former Tennessee Vol Ramel Keaton officially. Burks, the former first-round pick in 2022, the heir to A.J. Brown, no longer in Nashville, Tennessee. I invite you to add Ron Slay to your prayer lists. Yeah. If you are a praying people this week, think about him. Give him a high five. Give him a hug if you see him. Tough day yesterday for our good friend Ron Slay of 3HL.
Man, our good teammate, man, one of the best guys around, man, Lucas Panzica, sought out Ron Slay.
I was there for it in person.
You were?
I was. Working on some soccer stuff, and we consoled Savage.
Did you?
Know him. Yeah.
Savage needed to be bandaged up yesterday. That's what you're telling me, man. If you see a friend that's in need like that from time to time, listen, we live in a world where 6 feet became a standard, okay? Get close to your friends. Let them know that, look, we love you and we here for you. If you have seen or run across Ron Slay, you know his Instagram or Twitter, @TheRonSlay. Tweet. Send him a picture. Do what you need to make him feel better. Because he rode that train, Will, like nobody's ever rode a train before when we talking about the Treylon train. Proud of you. Way to stand down. Don't pick another player.
So just Ron Slay now taking submissions for what jersey he's going to buy for the new Tennessee Titans as well. But similarly to the way, Ramon, we've talked about Will Levis, we've talked about the changes to this organization and the 2025 Titans. I feel like after today, it's going to be the same thing with Treylon Burks as we said about Will Levis. No longer a part of this team. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unlucky, some of the stuff he had happen, especially the way he was kind of anointed as the next guy after, for me, the best wide receiver to ever put on a Tennessee Titans jersey was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. But we move on.
Yeah,
we move forward. There are 13 guys here at camp. There is a competition to be had. Unfortunately, Treylon, for more rotten luck, is not going to be a part of that. You wish him the best, but we move forward as the 2025 Tennessee Titans need some new faces to step up and emerge a wide receiver.
What you don't see that's unique about Treylon's situation as we close out this chapter, I guess, moving forward for him, 3 straight years of injuries, just don't. I couldn't imagine being in his position where you came in with people side-eyeing because of A.J. Brown trade, right? You come in with a coach that's super hard as heck anyway. I said this a little bit yesterday in 3HL's chat on YouTube. I do feel like you meet certain coaches that you'll never be their guy. This is me speculating. This is me just understanding how I feel Vrabel, I think, loved A.J. Brown, what A.J. Brown could have did for this team, for the offense that he was running to, the explosion that A.J. had created for himself. I don't know if Treylon was ever going to be a guy that fit the mold of what Vrabel wanted, in a sense, the toughness, the attitude era for where A.J. was in his career. It was hard. Now, again, he has an injury then, that first year.
Yeah.
And fighting back with some coaches, man, I'll be honest, some people don't want – this is no – knock on Vrabel, but some coaches have a hard stance on players, and fans don't ever hear about this type of stuff, but I've seen it happen in college personally to a lot of guys I was close to. In the NFL, you get on the back burner with coaches and you never get off of that also, and Treylon's situation with the injuries did not help it even more so. So I feel like it was doomed from the beginning with a lot of hope and optimism that he turned the corner, and he never did.
I don't know if it was doomed.
And I'm not blaming Vrabel.
I don't know if it was doomed from the very beginning. I mean, I don't think Vrabel's coaching style against Treylon Burks is the reason why under 2 head coaches he's always been injured.
And
like, without the injuries, that can still be a secondary story and a secondary thing, like an obstacle to overcome. I think if Treylon Burks had just stayed healthy, we see a very different version of him as a Tennessee Titan, regardless of who the coach is.
I think it plays a little bit of both parts of it for me. The pressure of to perform for a guy like him in the NFL. And again, this is no indictment on Vrabel. This is Treylon got to find a way to stay healthy. He's got to find a way to fall and hit the ground. There's a clip right now, Marvin Harrison Jr. catching the pass, falling to the ground the exact same way it looked like Treylon did too, and he popped up perfectly fine. I don't know what happened with his body when he came to the NFL, but it does look like a situation to where he fell and just could not control himself, or his body just hit those weak spots. Like, I've caught a concussion one time, man, out of nowhere for the slightest. I'm talking about the lightest hit, and you just get hit in those moments. Treylon seemed to have always fell in those moments or overextended his legs in those moments to put him down. But I personally think he was almost doomed from the beginning, just being here in the role that he was supposed to play. Who's ever followed up a guy to beat the next guy in front of him the way A.J. Brown has gone on to do?
I mean, it does happen. Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs is the best example. That Minnesota gets rid of Diggs. They draft Justin Jefferson in the first round, and he becomes the best receiver in the NFL. But the Titans tried to replicate that model, and just they couldn't get the second part right.
Does not come right. And the only reason I'm saying is he's never had an injury issue, Treylon.
Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't been the same guy in the NFL that he was at Arkansas. Just not even close in any context. Health-wise, the way he was used, just some of the ways that he really thrived at Arkansas, we never saw it here. And he was kind of sold as another Deebo Samuel type, as someone who could be a bigger-bodied slot, who could be a Swiss Army knife, who could do a lot of things well for this team, catching the football down the field, getting it behind the line and making guys miss, having run after catch ability. I mean, in a lot of ways, he was compared to A.J. Brown, unfairly, but compared stylistically to the way A.J. was deployed at Ole Miss and the way he was deployed at Arkansas. But we move forward.
He also didn't help himself either. That first training camp, he comes in with the breathing or asthma or out-of-shape component of it, too. He was behind the 8-ball and chasing himself. Like I said, I put it back on him, too. He's not without fault in this situation also.
Paul Kaharski with the report yesterday clarifying on Treylon Burks, saying if no one claims him on waivers, he reverts to the Titans injured reserve. Since his contract is fully guaranteed, there is no negotiating out of the remainder of his deal based on the length of the rehab. But once he is healthy, they could terminate him, and any new contract could offset some of the $2.7 million 2025 base salary. This is why teams like Cincinnati are negotiating and taking time on fully guaranteed money for their draft picks.
Yeah.
This is it right here, right? It is the fully guaranteed aspect of, hey, in that fourth year, we don't know what you're going to be. You know, if you end up flaming out and being an Isaiah Wilson or a Lewis Seen, the safety out of Georgia and Minnesota. Who did not really contribute very much. Like, if you end up being that, we'd like to save some money on the back end of this thing. And so that is the logistics and the parameters around where the Titans are with Treylon Burks at this point. So not 100% gone, but let's just be honest. For the sake of the 2025 Titans, Treylon Burks is not on this team anymore. And I think after today, similarly to the moratorium we put on Will Levis talk, as much as we can, Ramon, we got to move on from the Treylon Burks stuff. Today's kind of the end for me.
The best part about it for the Titans, too, if my numbers serve me correctly, this is about a 4 to 8 week injury recovery for Treylon Burks with a collarbone, depending on how he feels. If I was him, I'd prolong it the heck out of it as long as I possibly could. But you may only pay for, if that's true from Paul, the first month of his salary. Because you still got 4 weeks leading up to the season. That is preseason pay right there. The paragraph 5 don't kick in until the first week of the NFL season, from my understanding. So they may only have to pay him a month of that guaranteed salary if they choose to cut him after the fact too. It being fully guaranteed, I gotta look more into that one just a little bit too.
For first-round draft picks from 2020 to 2022, Nick Suss puts this out there yesterday from the Tennessean. The fewest career snaps among first-round picks from 2020 to 2022. Treylon Burks, 9th fewest, 1,021 snaps.
He did that in one season.
Henry Ruggs, 8th. Peyton Turner, 7th. Kadarius Toney, 6th. Caleb Farley, 5th fewest snaps for first-round picks from 2020 to 2022 with 476 snaps. Damon Arnett, 3rd. David Arnett fourth. Trey Lance third. Lewis Seen, 144 snaps. And then old friend Isaiah Wilson. The fewest snaps of any first-round pick from 2020 through 2022 with 4. 4 snaps.
That is, you ask questions about the why.
Yeah.
You know, fans want to know why this team is fighting and trying to be very strategic in how they rebuild and the guys that they bring in, why health is a huge part of it, why I feel like they're going with bigger bodies on the defensive line and offensive line. They've incorporated this new sports science that they have here at the Tennessee Titans facility to Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. That's why. You waste first-round picks, you waste talent and development and key cogs into your franchise history moving forward. 4 snaps, 400 for 100 for another one, and 400 after that. Will, that's flagrant, is what that is. You don't do that. And here's the thing: those guys were higher draft picks. I know it was 20s for a couple of them. You look at Treylon; he's teens in his situation. And then you draft guys who are injured or got a little bit of a checkered past. Treylon wasn't an injury thing coming into it. Got injured in the NFL. But you look at Caleb Farley's situation. You look at Panda's screw his nickname. You look at Isaiah Wilson's situation. That's flagrant, Will. Like, there has to be a process of where you become so detailed and, to be quite honest with you, a jerk about the process of bringing people into your building moving forward. Because you lose jobs. You spend a lot of unnecessary money and resources trying to develop these guys and energy to keep them a part of your program, and then you lose and then you get fired too as a GM. Like that, if Miss Amy ever was to have an attitude about how she went about her business, you look at that list right there and say, this is why. Don't even ask any questions. This is why. Those 3 words right there.
Took us a little bit of time to see the full consequences, the full effects of some of those unfortunate picks, but we're seeing them now, unfortunately. And it is the reason why, more than anything, the Titans are forced to rebuild over the last 2 years.
If you ever at this point, it doesn't correlate directly, but if you ever at this point ticked off about any performance of the offensive lineman, look at Isaiah Wilson. Okay, like, look at that situation. I know J-Rob is trying to do the best he could with that job, right? But, like, look at those situations and ask why there's potentially this much of a pecking order when it comes down the way the Titans have restructured their scouting, their front office, the GMs, et cetera, et cetera. You know, like, this is why. You got to make sure the guys watching him is being checked and the guy behind him is being checked too. And it's not micromanaging in a sense. It's just trying to make sure that you can, as much as you possibly can, create a foolproof method to having more hits than you do misses.
That's right. I mean, honestly, the thing you can't have is just a total whiff. And unfortunately, the Titans had a couple of those in a row, and we move forward. So there's your history. There is the past. There is the stuff that is no longer lingering over Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. And within this rebuild and reset, we move ahead. So let's move ahead, Ramon.
That ticked me off talking about it. You know why? It's twofold for me. It's the first-round component where you're expected to be an elite player, a blue chipper. I don't care if you're the 32nd pick of the first round. What was Lamar Jackson, the 31st or 32nd one too? Like, you still expect high payoff. TJ Watt, I think, was the 28th for 30th himself. Like, there are still guys there, but you got to find guys that fit what you're doing. And the other side of it is directly to the guys that are in those situations. Understand the assignment. I think we spoke a little bit about it yesterday when you speak about, like, Cam. Like, he may seem OCD with showing up at 5 o'clock. He may seem, out of his mind or it may look to some people, oh, that's fake. You're not really being you. No. The ones that are trying to be the best of the best and the greatest, they erase all doubt when it comes to their mental capacity that they're operating with and physically what they're doing with their bodies and make sure that they stay above board with those things. I've seen greatness with some of my former teammates, and those guys are some of the hardest workers I've ever seen in my entire life. I point to a guy like Troy Polamalu that was always there and readily available. Marquise Pouncey was another one of those guys, and it also ticks you off when you look at what's happening in Knoxville with Boo Carter. You want to be a two-way player. You want to be one of the best in the world. You want to be Travis Hunter. That's why I said last week, he's not that, because Travis Hunter don't miss practice. They got to tell him not to practice. The greats chase that greatness, and when you come into this NFL life, it's not a joke, and teammates are counting on you to do your part of that job, and it sucks that these guys put themselves in a position, albeit injuries or whether it be organizational flaws that they've had too. It just sucks because it's only 32 of these teams in NFL cities.
Yeah, it forces you to spend more money than you should in free agency, and it forces day 2 and 3 draft picks into roles that should be for your day 1 picks.
And I hate the false hope of it too. Like, this is going to be this year because we went and got that guy. Like, nah, like, build it up from the nuts and bolts is how you do this thing.
So today, Ramon Foster, the first padded practice. Yep, we gotta move on from the past stuff. We've got to move on from Treylon Burks. We've got to move on from Will Levis. We've got to move on from the 2 GMs ago, John Robinson, and 1 GM ago, Rand Carthon. This is Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker's Tennessee Titans, coached by Brian Callahan. They're going to put pads on today, and there is a new energy in this building and in this facility we're above today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park because of what Cam Ward has brought to the table, because of the excitement that he brought on Saturday at Nissan Stadium for an open practice, because of some of the vertical routes that this team can now start actually throwing, and some of the, scramble drills that Cam Ward brings you. The good news for you as a Titans fan is those picks and those executives can't hurt you anymore. It is truly a new day here in this building. The energy in this building is different already today than it was for me even over the offseason program because of how much Cam Ward, I think, has turned some heads. So we're going to talk more about that in hour 2 before we get ready for practice at 8 o'clock. Ramon, for you, as pads go on today, who needs a good week in the biggest way?
The O-line, period. This defensive line is highly motivated, man, and you see it in the way they work, the spirit. They're led by one of the best leaders, I think, in all the NFL, despite what some people here think about him, and that's Jeff. You say what you want to, and that man is out there working. He's pushing everybody else to chase him at that point. And I feel like the O-line got to overmatch his energy because if he can embarrass you, he will. I start with the entire unit, specifically the left side, and watching what the right side does. Whoever, if it's Corey Levin at center, I'm okay with him doing his job because you understand if Lloyd can come back, that's even better. But those 5 have to set a tone today. And you know why? Today you incorporate the run. You can go. You can legitimately say, you can't go to film tonight and say, Coach, I would have got him. No. We need to see these guys work from level 1 to level 2 and even to level 3 at the safeties if Kevin Winston Jr. want to come play ball with the big boys, man. It's that one for me on a day specifically like today.
We've talked about this a little bit, but I wanted to bring it back up. How much do pads help offensive linemen?
So much more. Because you can actually grab and you can fit. Like, there is a component of my shoulder pass with my tackle shoulder pass moving the defensive lineman. I joked earlier about, like, moving Jeff off his spot or Tavondre or Sebastian Joseph Day off their spot. I can go in and hit you, and there's nothing you can say about, hey, bro, we don't have pads on anymore, because that is a part of it. I got to respect you enough to not try to kill you without pads being on. And that's where I feel like today – throw all of those rules out of it. As long as we're not punching each other in the face mask or taking each other to the ground if coach says not to, everything is above board, and don't ask any questions of can I. Yes, you can today.
The winner of first one on the practice field today once again goes to Tajay Spears.
Yes, sir.
Getting warmed up, getting ready. A little bit of an earlier practice today. Practice at 8 o'clock this morning, meaning that we will be able to narrate and digest and analyze practice from our perch here at the SeatGeek Terrace at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Your phone call is 615-737-1045, and we stream it live for you, not practice, but just our lovely faces for radio. On 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. A college football headline of the SEC when we come back. A quarterback of the SEC is injured again. We'll tell you about it next. Tuesday morning in Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Wrapping up the opening hour today in just under an hour. Titans head coach Brian Callahan scheduled to meet with the media. You will hear that live right here on the show. Your thoughts of the F&M Bank chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, 615-737-1045. How you jump in. Ramon Foster, Florida quarterback DJ Lagway is hurt again.
Yeah.
According to a report yesterday from Gators Online, the injury considered minor, but may limit the Florida starter at the start of fall practices this week, according to multiple sources. He suffered a calf injury during a team run last week, has been in a boot, the source said. His injury not thought to be serious, but it is unclear how much practice time Lagway could miss as a result, if any at all. The Gators open camp tomorrow. How concerned would you be if you were a Florida fan this morning about your quarterback who did not throw at all in the spring due to a shoulder thing, had a hamstring thing last year, now having a calf thing and being in a boot right before fall practice?
I'm close to very concerned.
Really?
Yeah, close to very, because again, his ability to make plays and find timing with his guys. He hadn't thrown much to begin with either. The only thing that bothers me is hearing that it's a calf strain and he's in a boot. Kevin Durant, Tyrese Halliburton. Those situations right there, when you speak of the calf, he's a quick twitch athlete himself.
And what it means for your Achilles.
What it means for your Achilles. Right. That's where I was headed to, man, is that becomes just a little bothersome because you don't know if this type of stuff is going to continually show up when it comes to are you going to have him available or not. Now, to your point, Will, we got a month plus still before the kickoff of the season, man. Are we close to just under a month? And there's, the ability for him to really catch up and understand what the offense is before a guy that's the athlete that he is and how he plays and how he uses his legs and becomes a dynamic weapon for that offense. Just the warm-up when he's been training all summer long on the conditioning test, I side-eyed because you don't want these types of things. What is it next time? Is it a forearm strain? He's had something all summer long. Is where it's been at. I'm slightly side-eyeing the heck out of him moving forward.
So Lagway did not attempt any passes during the spring, nursing a shoulder injury and a lower body injury, according to Florida coach Billy Napier. He resumed throwing in late April, said he's feeling great heading into the fall, remained, quote-unquote, engaged throughout spring camp, mimicking quarterback drills from behind the center, and participating in some team activities. He started the orange and blue game, but only played a few series and just handed the ball off. So the shoulder injury has been a thing since last season. He hurt his hamstring against Georgia, causing him to miss the rest of that game and the following week at Texas. Florida was 6-0 last season in games that Lagway started and finished. Just under 2,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, 9 picks. He completed 60% of his passes in 12 games played. To me, it's less about the calf, and it's more about it's always something with DJ.
Yeah.
It's been the hamstring. It's been the shoulder. To me, the shoulder thing is still way more of a concern than some calf thing that has you in a boot right before fall camp. Because we know how quickly shoulder things can pop back up the second you add more stress and a lot more volume in a game setting versus practice settings. And Will Levis is the best example.
Yep.
And truly.
It is.
You have a shoulder injury in the season, and then all of a sudden you're starting to ramp up a little bit. Those things can pop up quickly, and shoulders are just not something to mess with for quarterbacks.
And no, it's not, but it's also the style of play. You mentioned Will Levis, and I think about him diving to the sideline to get an extra yard or two. Like DJ Lagway does a mobile quarterback. He likes to move. He likes to manipulate the pocket and expose defenses too. You mentioned that shoulder. Well, all I can think of is this. He's a runner as he take off. He's not a protected entity in college as it pertains to how you hit the quarterback in those moments. He's playing in a very physical league that's an already very physical sport anyway. He goes to the ground. The shoulder situation or the calf or the hamstring, like you said, he's been anatomy 101 trying to figure it out. And I guess the issue for Florida coaches is figuring out what's actually going to work for him to protect him. But if you're thinking about protecting him, do you restrict his play as a quarterback, as your playmaker? And that's where it becomes, gladly for us as Vols fans, problematic for them as a team. Like, what is your backup plan? Because he is the plan.
Well, you know who their backup plan is. You know who their backup quarterback is, right?
I saw that. Former Vol.
Harrison Bailey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Harrison
Tennessee
Bailey.
quarterback.
You know, as much as he may be more seasoned, do they really want to go that route? Because no, exactly.
They're paying him to be a backup,
exactly,
which is the thing now in college football.
Eyes on the field is what he is for DJ Lagway. But if you're Billy Napier and his offensive staff, how do you formulate a plan to tell him to protect himself when you have that type of player? That is, I guess, the other part of this dual quarterback era that we're in is how do you as coaches teach these young guys to protect themselves? And that's going to be a challenge, I think, moving forward. I feel like the NFL has gotten a little bit better at it, but you still have these phantom injuries that happen from time to time. We're talking about Anthony Richardson at this point. Is it a trend with Florida quarterbacts?
No, I don't think it is.
I know. I'm just saying with what he got going on in the NFL.
I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, I see what you're I see your point, but two very famous Florida quarterbacks who just recently have had some bad injury luck.
Yeah, and almost similar in the sense, too, to be, if we look at it, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder stuff, yeah. I mean, Richardson more of an action figure and Lagway more of a smaller athlete.
Yeah.
That says more about Lagway, or more about Richardson than it does Lagway. But we'll see. I mean, when healthy, DJ Lagway has got as much potential as any quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
I still don't think he's quite on the Lenora Sellers level. Heck, last year I don't think he was on the Nico level. I think we get obsessed with the potential and what Florida was down the stretch a little bit more quickly than I think we should.
Yeah.
Although the fact that Lagway is good, and they were good when he started and finished games, I still think he needs to prove a little bit more, and I think Billy Napier needs to prove that he can win games against teams that aren't just dumpster fires down the stretch. But, we'll find out quickly, because that game against USF week 2 and Alex Golish in South Florida, a sneaky tough one for the Gators in week 2, and you are not afforded the luxury of getting out of the gate slowly against one of the best G5 teams in college football this year.
Their first 6 games, they better get him as healthy as they possibly can.
LIU, South Florida, LSU, Miami, Texas A&M, Mississippi State before their second bye week. You got a bye week in there between Miami and Texas.
Yeah, they got to get him healthy. And I know their offensive line is a little bit better this year, too.
Should be. Yeah, they return a lot of production on that offensive line.
But the places that they have to go visit, at LSU, at Miami this year, Miami Gardens.
I think it's the toughest schedule in college football.
Easily. So they need
I think
him.
it's either them or Oklahoma have the toughest schedule in college football.
Yeah. Can't bubble wrap them, but they need to get as close as they can to it.
In the F&M Bank chat, you can join the discussion, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The number one thing Ramon Foster wants to see today at Tennessee Titans training camp in the first padded practice. We will talk about that coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. When the heat rises outside, your home's air conditioning shouldn't let you down. And the Lead Company team is here to help keep you cool and your system running at its best with award-winning AC services. Whether you need a quick repair, seasonal maintenance, or want to upgrade to a new unit, Lead Company gets the job done right. Available 24/7. Schedule your visit today online at leadcompany.com. There is no worse feeling than getting home after a long day at work and realizing, there is not cold air in my home. That heat, it's been sitting, it's been rising up to the upper levels of your home, and you got to make sure Lead Company comes out there and make sure that you're staying ahead of what other heat wave, whatever weather that Mother Nature is throwing at us here in Middle Tennessee. 615-567-1000. They're online at leadcompany.com. Available 24/7. Get the very best players on your team by contacting Lead Company. Online at leadcompany.com. That's Lead Company, all you need.
It is 7 o'clock on the dot. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Tennessee Titans news, yesterday the Titans have waived 2022 first-round draft pick and 18th overall selection wide receiver Treylon Burks, who suffered a fractured right clavicle during open practice this past Saturday at Nissan Stadium. In a corresponding move, the Titans officially announced the signing of former Tennessee Vols and Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Ramel Keaton to the roster. If Burks goes unclaimed on waivers, he would revert back to the Titans on injured reserve. Today, the Titans put pads on for the first time in training camp and hit the practice field this morning at 8 a.m. Head coach Brian Callahan will take to the media ahead of practice at 7:40. And you can, of course, hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone and on the show. In other NFL news, Indianapolis Colts have agreed to terms with left tackle Bernard Raymond on a 4-year, $100 million extension that includes $60 million in guarantees. The Denver Broncos and wide receiver Cortland Sutton agreed to a 4-year, $92 million extension. Sutton gets a new deal after setting a career high with 81 receptions and getting his second 1,000-yard receiving mark in his career. The Titans play Sutton and the Broncos Week 1 in Denver. And Dallas Cowboys starting left tackle Tyler Guyton went down with what appeared to be a ACL tear in practice yesterday, but after MRI tests revealed that the 2024 first-round pick instead had a bone fracture and will miss 4 to 6 weeks and will not need surgery. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. hour live, high atop Music City, USA, from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. This is Tennessee Titans training camp, and this is padded practice number 1. The whole crew here, present and accounted for. He is the 11-year NFL veteran and Vol Network analyst, Tremont Foster. Kirby Allen Kirby and Robert Walsh making the show happen for us here in person. Justin Hawkins back in our Midtown studios. I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045, the number. As always, fueled up by our friends at Scooters Coffee, locally owned at Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, or Mount Juliet. You're going to hear from head coach Brian Callahan coming up in just about a half hour at 7:40. So stick around for that. Practice getting started at 8. Austin Price still going to stop by at 8:20. While the stretching and individual periods get started, we will get the latest from Knoxville as fall camp begins for Josh Heupel's Tennessee Volunteers as well. Ramon, as we watch practice and talk about it with the people this morning, starting around 8 o'clock, what do you want to see today as padded practice gets started?
I want to see the linebackers play their role. How do they line up against the running backs? I told you earlier, watching how the offensive line come together. Well, do they get bullied today? Like, that's a real thing. Nobody wants to be at a total loss on day one in shoulder pass. Going back to those meetings later today is going to be hell for that group if they don't bring it together quickly. Are they supposed to be, just on the same page? No, but there need to be some wins. There need to be some runs from here to there. They need to be able to protect Cam more in these settings, because today will probably be open field, passing and everything else that's involved. And like I said, just the physicality of watching what James Williams Jr. does. He and Cody Barton, too. I think the front seven, specifically the linebackers, got to show improve, because it's been real nice. It's been real cool watching them get interceptions and talk stuff and the 7-on-7 stuff. But this is where they make their bread, and when the pass come on right now, Will.
So for them and for those linebackers and James Williams and Cody Barton, Anthony Orji and Cedric Gray, you hope to see a little bit of separation between starters and role players, right?
Yes, sir.
And you hope that James Williams continues to take that step. It feels to me, Ramon, like this staff and this organization wants James Williams to be the 1B starting linebacker.
Absolutely.
Just because of the skill set and just because of the ceiling. It feels to me, and maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, does James Williams have the highest ceiling of any of those young running backs or young linebackers?
Yes, in my personal opinion. Because the size is unique, because his skill set that he's formerly had of playing safety is already embedded in him, and the idea that he can put on, You know, when an athlete, coaches see players, he's still growing into his body. Like, that's the conversation that you have with a guy like that. So if he takes a huge leap this year to put himself in a position to compete physically, can you imagine what another year next year, that third pro year that we speak of, he could be in the conversation. Well, depending upon how this defense performs, like if he has 2 or 3 picks, if he can create splash defensively, like we're talking about a guy who's a 6th-round draft pick that can potentially turn himself into a Pro Bowler just because of his uniqueness of his position. I somewhat view him, if he can escape the physicality by being agile like a Ron Shazier was. Like, Shea wasn't a thumper. Mm-hmm. He was, but like he knew how to save his body. If he can figure that out but also bring the wood from time to time, that's the position I feel like most NFL teams have been looking for in the league with that type of body type.
I think early you'd love to see a kind of give and take between the offensive line and defensive line, the way you're seeing the inside linebackers and your passing game kind of go back and forth.
Yeah.
Like if one group is dominant over this first week, if the offensive line is just manhandling the defensive front, I think that's a bit of a red flag about, you know, yes, this is a veteran offensive line that I think is going to be much improved, but you want to see this pass rush and some of the young guys and Femi Oladejo and Draymond Jones also be disruptive.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that Titans fans can feel comfortable with. We're going to talk about Cam Ward more in a minute and what his early success really means. You're seeing back and forth. You're seeing balance. You are seeing Cody Barton have an interception one day and then Cam Ward dotting up the defense over the middle the next day. And that is healthy at this point. Typically, Ramon, if you are seeing one side of the ball dominate, that can mean one or two things. It could mean that side of the ball is really good. It could also mean the other side is really bad. And you've got major concerns that your defense or your offense is just kind of exploiting and taking advantage of. So there's obviously not a bias. I would say, a bias that comes with watching offensive line versus defensive line with you. And we're going to be rooting for the offensive line when we talk. But
you know why?
I think there is a give and take that is important to see from this first week.
The reason why you
I'm okay with the bias.
No.
I'm not being critical.
But like the reasoning for it, if you like, and you understand ball, what I'm getting at is like to give more understanding of it. If you see more wins from the O-line, that means there's more cohesion because, in my opinion, there's not enough room for error for that group to say, oh, they'll get it.
Right, like the operation of the entire offense relies on the 5 guys up front.
Whereas a defensive player gets outside of his gap or evades his responsibility, he may get a sack. There's room for error on the defensive side of things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's why you want to see that offensive line in a practice setting where they know each other and you got to see each other, 70%. That's cool with me, or 60-40, Will, to be quite honest with you.
I poke fun at Ramon's O-line bias, but I do so in joking that, yes, like, of course you're going to be biased, first of all, to the position you played for 11 years. But secondly, for this team, I do get the importance of building from the front on offense, 100%. Especially when you have the most valuable asset in a Titan blue jersey, Cam Ward behind those guys.
Bro, it just matters more now. And here's the cool thing about it. That pressure is amazing. Well, if they don't feel that, if they don't talk about that, we gotta keep one. We gotta keep one up. We gotta protect one because on a day like today, like even if they do get beat, like one of these offensive linemen, what I'm saying is this though: where was the finish? Did they quit on the play? Because we go back to this past Saturday scrimmage inside of Nissan Stadium to where Cam's rolling out. That's the life that they got to live moving forward. Is the first thing that I was told when protected Ben Roethlisberger, the moment that you feel like you've blocked long, block longer. And then after that, block more because the play is never dead. So even if those guys do get beat in a setting like today, I want to see those guys still pushing the hip and finishing the block because that's the difference, Will, in having a chunk play and a -7. You know what I'm saying? In those situations right there, we saw Cam continue that play on, and yes, it probably was a sack in those moments, but that's the life moving forward that they should expect to live. It is every player finishing their block. Even if you are beat, do you think your quarterback is dynamic enough to evade potentially in a game to hit a chunk play that's down the field? And nobody cares about that. Here's that word. Pressure.
Yeah, right.
Nobody cares anymore.
So I think, too, we can't forget about the value of the run game and the way that evaluation process kind of starts today as well. And something I think that's really interesting to follow is the confidence and the performance of Tajay Spears early in camp. A couple of long runs and screen passes last week. Some good moments in the open practice on Saturday. I think Tajay Spears, Ramon Foster, is an excellent fit schematically for what the new Titans offense is going to look like. Yeah. If you envision what Cam Ward was doing at Miami last season, and obviously we're not giving away trade secrets and just saying that Brian Callahan's on the record, this offense is going to look a little bit like what Cam was running at Miami, in the same way that what he ran for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati was similar to another year at LSU. Okay, so what does that offense look like at Miami? It's RPOs, it's pre-snap motions that get a wide receiver open in the flat that you're picking, hey, if we're there in man coverage, I'm either keeping this ball or I'm handing it off. If we've got a zone, I'm checking it down to Chimere DK or Tyler Lockett. Hey, if this backside, I've got cushion back here, I'm going to take a 5-yard hitch and be able to take what the defense gives me. The running element, though, of that, and the way Tajay Spears can kind of fit through the crevices in really small gaps, but still stay at his top speed and just be a technician cutting between the big bodies. We see that in a more significant way once those big guys are actually blocking and not just kind of tangoing.
Yeah. Because here's to your point about them being able to throw to the flat. So a guy like Tajay Spears is the cool component about this offense or the attributes of this team, especially with a guy like J.C. Latham losing as much weight as he did, they're all mobile. They can get in space. You can create, to your point, opportunities in the flat for a guy like Tajay that needs just, I'm talking about the smallest gap to get through. That's what you're hoping for with a guy like him that's in that situation, that's out here walking early with no shoes on. They're trying to build up his foot muscles just so he can make those cuts and be dynamic. That's his game, Will.
I think there is an opportunity for Tajay Spears, if he is healthy for 17 games, to have a major breakout season this year.
Are we?
And that's not based off of what we've just seen in practice. It's adding what we have seen in practice to what we know about the changing system for Cam Ward, what we know about how much this organization values Tajay. I think what we know about the frustration levels he had late last season and how much he is ready to prove that, no, that's not who I was. When I'm healthy, I can still be a number one back in this league. And quite honestly, Ramon, I think some of the frustration that this organization had to bring in Tony Pollard.
Yes.
Because last season we were ready to anoint Tajay Spears as the guy, and then all of a sudden the Titans open free agency, and here comes Tony Pollard. And obviously Tony made the most of his opportunity, but I think there is a bounce-back season in the cards for Tajay Spears if he can stay healthy. And I know that's a big if, and he was unlucky with the concussions last season and going into the protocol a couple of times. But I don't think a 1,000-yard season on the ground for Tajay Spears is totally out of the question, considering the upward trajectory he is on and this new system that I think really fits him well.
Does that that change things or just roles for what Tony Pollard is?
I think it might, yeah.
By force sometimes. Like that, and
I mean, look, for a guy that is at his point in his career,
fair. For
someone who is in year 2 of his contract, I mean, in a perfect world, you're replacing that guy in year 3 of their contract. At the point of his career that he's in, and a second deal, like the biggest contract he's going to have in his career, a draft and develop organization that Chad Brinker, Mike Borgonzi want this to be, have the luxury of moving on from players like that when they've already replaced them without having to replace them, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like the way the Titans had Taylor Lewan waiting for when Michael Roos's time was up. But they had those two guys together at the start of Taylor's career. Yet you save a lot of money, and you're able to make bigger swings on your top free agent targets that you need to get, not just the ones that kind of fall to on your free agent board. Like, you have more capability to throw big money where you feel like you are really able to throw it, and you're not cash-strapped by moves that the previous regime made.
No doubt about it. And you already have your template for what you want your offense to look like moving forward, because the Batman and Robin role that Tajay and Pollard both are rolling right now, too. Like you said, you never want to be chasing guys. You want to be bringing them in and have them set and ready to go. I had a great comparison. Somebody texted me, man, I respect a whole lot, that gave almost a one-to-one comparison for what James Williams Jr. can be. Telvin Smith. I got to give a shout-out to Ron Davenport on that one. Playing against Telvin like that, yes, lean, in space, quick, key and diagnose type of guy, man. Got a Pro Bowl under his career at one point in time, too. I think having
2017.
played against a guy like him, that's so spot on for what he was. I'm talking about a maniac. Now, the thing with James is this. He's got to find that attitude because Telvin was – he was an animal out there in that defense that Jacksonville had at the time. Absolutely.
What's the biggest adjustment James Williams is going to have to make from what you saw last year and from – playing safety to playing linebacker? What's the biggest challenge for him in kind of making that full switch this season?
Dog, his expectation of making plays for him. It's okay for you to go and do the thing that you were gifted with. Your athletic ability and his length, I think, is he got to meet that expectation of both of those things. If he can find ways to evade guys or get away from bodies from time to time, to be speed, to be a guy at the line of scrimmage, if he's rushing, be smart enough to tip the ball instead of running into an offensive lineman, to be agile enough to get around the bigs, that's where he needs to be good at. I'm not asking him to be Ray Lewis. It's the expectation that, bro, you are a unicorn at this position. Utilize it.
615-737-1045. Brian Callahan meeting with the media coming up this morning at 7:40 as we broadcast live high atop Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park from the terrace here at the facility overlooking the 3 practice fields. Practice getting started at 8 o'clock this morning. We will have all the updates you need as things happen in front of us. But coming up next, with the success Cam Ward has had, with some of the highlight plays that QB1 made on Saturday at Nissan Stadium, how much does it matter, the early success Cam Ward has had? How much better do we feel about the Titans quarterback position after watching Cam work in a Titan blue jersey? We got that for you coming up next.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Have you ever looked in your crawl space? I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there, but moisture in your crawl space can create unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe every day in your home. It's Ramon Foster, and this is where United Structural Systems can help you. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. Help control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space. It also helps deter mold and mildew and protects your crawl space from pests and wood rot. Turn your crawl space into a healthy space. Reach out to the company I trust for all foundation repair and waterproofing need, and that's United Structural Systems. You can go to their website at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or you can call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems. If you've been struggling to choose what to go to for TRT, look no further than Synergex and Low T Center. The new Synergex Health app is a superior innovation in healthcare technology that you will not find anywhere else. With the app, you can book your appointments. You can view your lab results right there in your hand. You can also have face-to-face telehealth visits, receive medication reminders, order supplements. You can pre-check into your visits and more. There's never been a better time to take care of your control right now. All you need to do is book an appointment or walk in at any Synergex or Low T Center before 10 a.m. The test is simple, only takes about 20 minutes to get your results, and once you qualify, you can start the treatment the same day. And here's the thing, fellas, it's not just about your testosterone levels, it's about your entire health, man. We've seen men that we've grown up looking up to, man, as it pertains to their health and their lives, and they emphasize, man, go get checked out, go to those doctor visits, and Low T and Synergex are making this easy as possible right now by having you book on your app and view your lab results and get tested. It's something that we don't think about. It's definitely something that we need to do. So download the Synergex Health app to book an appointment today, or you can visit fixmylowt.com. Again, the website is fixmylowt.com.
Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Locally owned Scooters Coffee in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh, Kirby Allen Kirby, Rhett Bryan getting ready for Titans presser as well. So, Ramon Foster, Cam Ward has been really good in the offseason, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Fair assessment to just say from a broad perspective, if you're just tuning in to Titans Talk, if you're just getting into the training camp headlines, first of all, welcome. We've missed you. But secondly, how ahead of the curve do you think Cam Ward is today, Ramon Foster, compared to the expectation you had for him when he was drafted?
Way above, I'll be quite honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, because, I was kind of bullish early on in this process, just like, you got to have to show me. You got to show me. Just watching it correlate from one school to the other, having at the time not watching a lot of his tape, I needed more understanding of him because I'm a mostly SEC guy as it pertains to the guys that I'm watching in the competition and stuff like that. So I needed to see a good bit of it. And the preseason talks between him and Shador and others was just like, okay, well, which one do you pick? And Cam Ward has clearly separated himself from the pack, and you see why. So I'm highly delighted in what I've seen so far. Just on the breeding ground, Will, of this year's connection and just flow compared to last year. I feel like that's as close as the one-to-one comparison that you could have on, I hate to use the word vibe, but like the vibe that you're getting right now versus what it was. And this is it's always one of those things where you see a dog with big paws, like, oh, that's going to be a big dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel about watching what Cam has done so far, is you expect good things to come because of what he's laid down, even with no pads on.
What about Cam's performances and success is most impressive to you? What is he doing that is so abnormal for a young quarterback?
The detail. The detail is immense when it comes down to how he's gone about it. I know certain guys get in the building and you don't see certain stuff correlate, but like you see his mental, you hear the coaches talk about his mental, and then you also look at the idea that when you watch him, his plays that he's making is stuff that he looks like he's used to already. And that's what, like, to me is by far the biggest part. I think no matter what, there's going to be surprises. There are going to be pitfalls. There are going to be moments in which he looks like a rookie because that's just the NFL. And I'm very upfront, like, it's a humbling league. But watching his detail on how he pushes his teammates, the exactness of where he want to throw the ball, and also this, too, the consistency of his release, nothing's changed about that. You find guys trying to get outside of their system, he seems very comfortable in Cam Ward's world.
No doubt. I mean, I think that's one thing we knew about Cam from the second he was drafted to now, and something that it's been good to see confirmed that we knew in him, that no one is more confident in Cam Ward's ability to play quarterback than Cam Ward. And there is no need to rewire the brain. There is no need to reinvent himself. He feels good enough in what's worked to get him to this point, continuing to work in the NFL. To me, it means that this team can be frisky, that this team can potentially, if guys stay healthy, if Cam Ward continues his upward trajectory, that this team can be a little fun this year. And I think that's what we've vocalized about the Titans. That's what we've said about them moving forward into 2025, that the rebuild, the reset, the recalibration of what a Tennessee Titan looks like begins with Cam Ward's ability to elevate those around him. And what I am seeing so far is he is elevating important talents and important parts of this offense. I think the thing, Ramon, that impresses me the most about Cam Ward is how quickly him and Calvin Ridley look like a legitimate young quarterback, number one wide receiver to be feared in this league. That, to me, I think is the first step for Cam becoming a successful NFL quarterback. Can you put your best guys in position to be your best guys? And that sounds really simple. We saw last year how difficult that can still be in how this team struggled to get Calvin Ridley involved early in the season. That is not even on my radar of concerns for this football team. There are plenty of things we could dive into that are are questions, that are challenges for this team at the moment.
Right.
Cam and Calvin is one of the things that I feel most confident in at this point. That's really impressive to me, how quickly Cam has developed a confidence, a rapport, a connection with his most important target who is going to be receiving the football from him.
And that's so crucial. And again, it always brings back the conversation, what's most important, the quarterback or the wide receiver? Who makes who? And I think we can most certainly see the quarterback plays a huge part of them, because if you have a very competent guy that knows exactly what he's doing and how to do it, Will, you elevate everybody else, man. Hearing you say, like, that he's a no-nonsense guy also, I think that plays such a huge part into his role with this team, because as of late, I feel like that position has been very much dictated by the public. You know what I'm saying? Like, either the whispers and the moans and groans from the media or fans about how we perceive these quarterbacks to be in years past, them doing the endorsement stuff that they do. And now you look at Cam. I'm sorry to say, for like most fans, when it comes down to Cam Ward, just on the words that he's spoken, it seems to me it's three things that's important to him, Will. That's his family, that's his teammates, and kids. If you're not one of those three, I feel like you don't matter to him, because it's the things that he somewhat said. I don't mean like you don't matter to him. I think he's going to do the fan thing well, but he don't care about the fluff and what you got to say about him and how you report on him. It is directly making his teammates better. To me, it's probably one of the best things that he can sell out for a team. To be quite honest with you, Will, the morale is low.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, and that's what he's doing so far for me that I think you can't measure.
Has Cam Ward's success so far in the offseason program changed your expectation and hope level for this team as a whole?
It ain't just me. It's Ian Rappaport that comes into town and say those types of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yes, it's obviously like, I get it. I do. Like I said, as bullish as I was early this offseason about, like, hey, I don't know who to pick between these guys, I lean more towards Shedeur. No, it's not even a close race at this point, Will. And I'm professional enough to admit those types of things, because you never know where the guy that can save your franchise is going to come from or what they're going to look like. I don't know what Cam Ward would be for San Francisco. I don't know what he would be for Minnesota. But for the Tennessee Titans team and what they need out of a quarterback, he meets the criteria, is what I'm saying in this situation.
I think it changes, for me, maybe the ceiling of how good this team can be in the absolute best-case scenario.
How far ahead, though? How many years are you putting this on? Because I think, like,
well, I'm not thinking about years ahead. I'm thinking about 2025.
You think about 25.
I'm talking about just this year.
Okay.
I think it changes the ceiling of how good this team can be, because Cam is better today than I expected to be talking about on July 29th. Honestly.
Yeah, I can see that.
He has started ahead of where I thought he would be at this point. It could just mean that he's shown us flashes in 7-on-7 and in some third downs, and when pads come on, there's increased physicality, there's injury attrition, there's all of these things around the offense. Maybe he does begin to struggle or take a step back, but at this point, I just think that he is good enough to lead the Titans to do some things people aren't projecting them to do this year. Whether that is win some games on the road in the division that people aren't expecting, whether that's going to Denver and putting up a more competitive showing against one of the top pass defenses in the NFL, on paper maybe the best secondary in the National Football League, and what they've got going on up there. Like, I just feel like Cam has already started to show me things that you can't teach. And that is where rookies so often don't show you how good they can be, because so much of what they're doing is so close to their floor. Mm-hmm. There are so many times that we don't know how much anticipation a young quarterback can throw with, because they don't even know where to go with the football, because pre-snap they're getting one look, and then the second the ball is snapped, well, that too high look rolls into a 3 or 1, and all of a sudden you've got pressure coming from different places. Like, even when Cam doesn't have the answers to the test pre-snap and is starting to get challenged and recognizes, hey, I got to be hot here, there's a blitz coming off the edge, the timing is still good when things clearly aren't going the way Cam planned them pre-snap.
Right.
And that is something that is a 200 or 300 level concept for young quarterbacks in this league that, again, the guy that started last year still wasn't doing. At this point in year 2, Cam Ward is showing maturity, timing and anticipation as a rookie in his first training camp that Will Levis was just starting to show a little bit in his third offseason as an NFL quarterback.
I smirked whenever you were talking about that because it goes back to my standard for franchise quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
A good franchise quarterback wins half the games by himself.
Right.
The team does the rest of the job.
Right.
Unfair or unfair, Will?
No, for sure. And it's kind of unfair, but it's the most important position in sports.
But the way you talked about it, that's what you were saying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think where we got a little misled late last season at the quarterback position is when the game plan itself was enough at times. And the primary reads, when they were open, Will Levis was fine. It's when you didn't have the answers to the test pre-snap, and then all of a sudden there's a new answer that you've got to have that the plan B was never there for last year's offense. There was one pathway to be successful. Run the ball on early downs, put yourself in 3rd down and 4 or less, and let your primary read be open. If the two of those three things were there and the other one wasn't, this team struggled last season. I see a quarterback in Cam Ward that is able to adapt on the fly and have a level of anticipation, but also talent and skill to overcome when things don't go his way. That's what gets me excited about Cam Ward. That's what I think is significant about the progress that he has already made.
You call that it.
It's the it factor. He's got it. And I don't know what that means for 2025. I don't know how that translates to wins and losses. I think at the very least, Ramon, there is confirmation the Titans made the right choice by not accepting the Giants' trade-up proposal, sticking where they were, and taking Cam Ward. He has already shown me enough of that P-word potential to say that they made the right decision the way we see it right now.
Stand up when you preaching, Will.
Coming up next, Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan speaks to the media. You will hear it live after this on 104.5 The Zone.
Princess is the hot chicken, is the Nashville hot chicken. It's been a staple in our community for almost 100 years. Think about that. Starting at its first location on Jefferson Street as Princess Hot Chicken Shack, it has evolved into multiple locations all over Middle Tennessee. Nashville Hot started when Thornton Princess and his reputation been on ladies, man, because a woman scorned is not someone you mess with. Well, served him a plate of hot chicken. Well, guess what? He loved it, is what I'm telling you, man. Absolutely loved it. And right now, man, I just want to tell you guys, this weekend we have a big event. Join with Princess Hot Chicken at the Tanger Outlets at Nike where we're doing a shoe drive, and it's one of the best things you can do for kids who are in a position to where they may need a little bit. And Nashville is a very giving city. Tennessee is a very giving state, and that's something that we need to make sure we show up for. So if you can be there this weekend at the Tanger Outlets in Antioch, where we will be giving away shoes to kids from your father to make sure that you go back to school fresh as you possibly can. And again, this is that time of year we all stick together as we try to make sure that we all are on the same page, man. So meet us this weekend with Princess Hot Chicken as we do something great for our community. And on top of that, you get a real nice hot plate from Princess Hot Chicken at the end of the deal, So meet us this Saturday, Tanger Outlets in Antioch, right across from Princess Hot Chicken. Be there or be square, and we do a great event this upcoming weekend.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, wrapping up the first half of your Tuesday morning, live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. We are high on a perch up here on the terrace at the top level of the facility, overlooking the practice field as players make their way out to the field and get warmed up for an 8 a.m. practice session this morning. Brian Callahan will speak with the media in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, I got an eye on him, Will. He's not up there yet, man. I'm spotting him if you need me. So I'll be your spotter this time.
I got my binoculars if you need them.
Yeah, you
brought your own binoculars?
I brought mine, too, man. They are strong, too, by the way, man. I'm seeing clear across the city with these things.
Expecting to get some one-on-ones today, expecting to see some individual drills between offensive linemen and defensive linemen. I am excited to watch those with Ramon and say win or loss.
Yeah.
Depending on who is going up against who down there.
I'm going to be all the way fair, too.
You're going to be right down the middle?
I'm going to be right down the middle. You say that with a smirk on your face, dog.
Okay.
You say that with a smirk on your face.
You say.
What I'm telling you is I'm going to be right down the middle because I'll say this. Well, he finished him at the end. If he loses, if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies. Okay. Well,
I feel like we are kind of up here. It's almost like we're like Gladiator. Ramon's just going to go thumbs up or thumbs down. Depending on how the individual periods go, because we are just watching up here like we're up in the press box, essentially, of Titans practice.
Hey, dog, their level of muscle activation is something. If you get injured here, okay, it's probably because of lack of hydration or something like that. Their activities before practice is a workout for, I think, most people.
Yeah, gotta get the blood flow going. Gotta get the muscles moving.
I can say, I think there's guys in the weight room with bands getting loose right now. They have these devices on the field. It's like a pulley sled that you can run and activate with. This is this first class. This is why I say the NFL is fantasy land. It legitimately, this isn't real life, Will. You can't just show up anywhere and get this type of treatment,
Start doing high knees at the parking lot of a 9 to 5.
Man, straight up. I go Jalen Duncan with my glasses. Callie's not here yet, Will, by the way. I still don't see
late.
him. Look at Lucas Pan.
Yeah, again, and we are not.
Fraternizing.
We will bring you the presser as soon as it begins. So if you are tuning in wanting to hear Brian Callahan, he's not started talking yet. The second he does, you will hear it right here on the show as we will have the ability to watch all of practice with you this morning. It's the first time we've ever been out here, and all of practice is within our show.
Yeah, we do.
So
look at Jalen.
Take that, Buck.
Jalen Duncan getting them hips together, activating them with them with those bands around his ankle. Bands that make him dance is what they say, Will. Just on the old line. I'm going to grow up. I'm eventually
Ramon
going
with
to
binoculars is like a golden retriever with a lot of squeak toys around it.
It is.
Ramon with football players from up here that he can see all of them. It's like a dog in a ball pit of tennis balls.
Nah, man, I'm telling you, I'm like a kid at Chuck E. Cheese right now, man.
Yeah.
I'm on fire with these binoculars.
Because our fans are as well.
But yeah,
Except unlike the Chuck E. Cheese in Florida, you're not going to be arrested for credit card fraud before the end of practice.
They tried to handle it in a very respectful way,
they really did.
But it's going to be interesting if they do a run drill before they do one-on-ones too, just to get the blood flow, just to get that pop out the way. It's unique with how coaches go about that type of stuff, man. They want to make sure you butt up first before you put yourself in a position to be going one-on-ones. There he is, Will. He's walking up. And my binoculars, there you go. Look at Callie. He got that coach face now for real. he just like me.
A very excited Brian Callahan to have a padded practice today as players continue to warm up and get ready down on the field. Justin going to tell me when we are ready to take Brian Callahan from downstairs. As the Tennessee Titans head coach will give opening comments. We'll give a bill of health. I imagine we'll answer some questions about Treylon Burks, who was waived/injured by the Tennessee Titans yesterday, and he will be ready in a matter of seconds.
Man, wide receivers really are young, fly, and flashy. Because I got on these super zoom binoculars, the diamonds around Calvin Ridley's neck, okay? These choker diamond necklaces is fire.
Here is Brian Callahan, head coach of the Tennessee Titans, meeting with the media.
Started from the offseason into the training camp portion. Now we actually get to do some real football. We get to fit up and thud and see guys come off the ball and work on block combinations and playing off combinations and linebackers fitting and all the things that you want to see in pads. So today should be a fun day, and I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, let you guys have at it.
pass rush one-on-ones today?
Yeah, 37 on 7.
How valuable is that?
It's valuable in the sense that it's an opportunity for guys to work on their craft. I don't know that it necessarily is a drill that's telling of a guy's ability to pass protect or not. It's just it's a technique drill. It's a little bit skewed defensively on that regard. So it's good. It's the right drill for technique, but it's a drill.
How much offensive line says that obviously they need the pads on in order to show what they've got because the defense always seems to have an advantage with the first few days of camp. What do you need to see out of that group today in terms of cohesion and getting the job done?
Yeah, just what you said. Cohesion's a big part of it. How we come off the ball, how we work in combination together with all the different combination blocks that happen up front. Just see what those actually get to look like when we can really come off the ball the right way. Anytime you're not in pads, you're mindful of that banging back and forth. So we get to go now. The governors are off, and we can come off the football, and all those things are a part of the process, but excited to be able to see it happen for real finally.
Brian, you guys haven't been here all that long, obviously, but three straight years where first-round picks really have contributed very little to the team. How much does that kind of put you guys now at a bit of a disadvantage because of what happened?
Yeah, hard to comment on what and why things happened before, and what decisions were made at those moments. But at the end of the day, we're trying to continue to add good players so we can have a chance to be more competitive and win more football games. So feel good about the guys we've added since we've been here, and those guys have contributed for us and will continue to. I'm excited about our first round pick this year, which is good.
Brian, what have you told the guys about extracurricular things after the play? When you pull pads for the last year's problem with Jeffrey Simmons,
Yeah.
have you told the guys anything? Don't do it. Stay away from it. What's been the message?
Same message as it was last year, in the sense that it's a penalty first and foremost. There's nothing worse than watching guys swing at each other with helmets on. You're not accomplishing anything, and that. We want to protect each other, so those things aren't acceptable. We don't tolerate it. Tempers flare in training camp. I'm not naive. This isn't my first training camp. I get how it happens, but we don't want that, and I've expressed that pretty straightforwardly to our team. And so again, if you get some pushing and shoving and all that happens, but we don't want any fights. That's not football.
How does your approach with Cameron Ward this year differ from the way you did things last year?
I don't know. That'd be hard to say. I mean, we still teach the offense. We still go about our process pretty similarly from a schematic and system standpoint, I think. I've always coached quarterbacks a very particular way, and I think Bo does it the same way I do it, along with Nick. We've got a pretty, I think, consistent approach to how we coach the position. So hard to say there's a lot of differences that I could point out at the moment, but yeah, there's certainly things that cater to the personality, that cater to the type of player, depending on the differences. So that's something that does come up. But anything that jumps out, I'd have to think a little harder on that one for you, TD.
You had mentioned the daily development for Cameron Ward. What's the daily development like for you? Just as a quarterback coach, so to speak.
Yeah.
I know obviously the head coach, but I mean, just
are you talking about quarterback play?
Yeah, for you, daily development, working with Cam Ward. Like, what are some of the things that are different now as opposed to when we first got out here?
Well, we're just the volume of what we're seeing. So the difference between like his spring is the install process is a little slower. It's kind of one install a day, and then you have days in between, and now you come to training camp and you rip off like 9 straight installs. So every day there's more coming. There's more looks from the defense, and it's coming at a more rapid pace, and so you have to pick it up. It's now all being condensed, and we're sort of in a race against every other team in the league to get all of our stuff down. And the biggest thing to me is just the operation versus our defense, with the amount of pressures we see, the handling of the protections. So again, the third downs are a big part of it. That process every day is every look, every defensive pressure, every time we get a chance to coach off those things is a huge part of the development. We can't get enough of it.
With more coming for Cam, as you were saying, how has he maybe responded to that uptick?
Fantastic. He's really done a nice job on the mental side of things. A lot of it's because he works really hard at it. There's a lot of effort put in on his part to know what to do, to know how to do it. I think that you start to see where things he's comfortable with. So there's some things that he likes better than others, like every quarterback. And so you're starting to get a better feel for me on my end on what he likes, what he feels comfortable with, and where are some things that we got to keep working on so he feels like he's at the right place when we go play in September. So we got a lot of work ahead still.
So the inside linebackers get camped a few times with the interceptions. Is that any concerns of like I guess a blind spot, or do you tie any of that together? Or?
No, certainly things you got to correct and coach off of. One of the minor things that shows up sometimes is quarterbacks generally have a lot of confidence in trying to throw the ball over people, and that's a thing in the NFL you don't get away with very often. And so you learn that. You learn that these guys get enough depth. They're where they're supposed to be. It's hard to throw the ball over people, and he's had 2 or 3 of those to Cody. And then the one in the stadium was just a really nice – Cam got moved off his spot in the pocket, so he's a little bit late to it. And then James made a great break on the ball. That one was just a really good play by James. But those are the things you coach and you keep working on, and you keep showing where the alternative throw could have been. And he gets it every time we go through it. So it's a good process.
Waiting on Lloyd. How's Levin done, and are you working some other guys in there?
Yeah, Corey's done a really nice job. I've kind of praised Corey previously, but he's stepped up. He's done a good job managing the line, making the calls, having guys on the same page. I've been really happy with what Corey's done. You see his veteranness, the amount of football he's been around, it shows up. So it's been super helpful to keep progressing for us up front. He's done a really, really good job there. Ruppich has gotten some snaps at center. Brewer snaps at center. Jackson Slater could at some point. He hasn't really done much of that at the moment. But we're rotating guys back through there. Sam Mustipher gets a little bit of work in there as well at center. So we got some guys rolling. They're doing a good job, and we'll find out a little bit more when we get the pads today. But I think Corey's been very good for us.
Atlanta concedes that ladder work is not his strength.
Sure.
When a guy's not good on the ladder, how much does that translate to his actual footwork, and what degree is that a concern?
Not a lot. Some guys got really great feet in the ladder. It's a drill, and it's something you can get better at. You can improve your ladder ability. But it doesn't show up. I mean, he can still get out of the top of his routes. He can still make a cut at the top of the break, and it doesn't show up in that. Some guys, the bigger guys, sometimes have a tougher time with the ladders, the longer legs, but that doesn't really I don't see it translate into his route running.
You're smiling. He takes grief for it. It's kind of a known thing.
Sure. Yeah.
How much more with the pads going on? How much more can you see and I guess evaluate the one-on-one matchups between the receivers and the DBs, like press coverage drills?
That's a big part too. It's very similar to the one-on-one pass rush. It's a drill. It's not the end all be all for what they're doing, but it is a chance for those guys just to feel, especially our young players, what press coverage feels like. We don't get to work a ton versus press in the off season because of the rules, and then even when you do, it's the physicality is not the same when you got pads on, and so it's a good drill to work. It's good for your technique, to work your releases, all those stuff. It's great. We'll do it today. It's just part of the process of getting guys ready to go play football on the perimeter, and the corners too. The corners need the same work that our receivers work. It goes both ways.
Brian, going back to James Williams, where have you seen him take steps? Obviously, he takes a on the mental side.
Yeah, the mental side's probably been his biggest improvement, and the mental side of knowing what to do, but then being able to diagnose and do it. That's been the jump he's made the most. Is he's much more comfortable in where his eyes are supposed to be, reacting to whatever blocking combinations he's seeing, gap plays, zone plays, being where he's supposed to be in the fit, and then doing a much better job in pass coverage too, just understanding where to be on the field in zone and where his eyes are supposed to be in man. His improvement has been noticeable, and I'm excited to see that continue.
The reason why we talk when young quarterbacks join teams that aren't very good and are drafting high about them potentially sitting, waiting, developing. When you take the guy first overall, it's not really much of a question. But what is it about Cam that makes you confident if things get ugly, if the situation is really rough for him in the season, that his development won't be stunted. He'll be able to handle it anyways.
Yeah, playing quarterback in the NFL, I don't think there's any substitutes of playing quarterback. You know, there's so many things they learn when they play the game that you can't necessarily simulate and teach. That part of being in the fire is what helps quarterbacks get better faster. So I've always been a big believer in guys playing. That's how they improve. And so his demeanor gives me a ton of confidence that he can handle a rough spot or two. Because look, it's the reality of quarterback playing the league and being a young player. Like, there's going to be ups and downs. It happens. But you see his demeanor, his heart rate never changes. He doesn't flinch when it comes to a mistake or two, and he just goes right back and does it again. And I think that's the makeup you have to have as an NFL quarterback, because every quarterback in the league throws interceptions, every quarterback in the league gets sacked, every quarterback in the league loses games, and so you have to battle through those moments, and the mindset and the makeup of the person is really what separates guys and being able to handle those things. So Cam has shown thus far that he's up to that task, and there's still things to come and still things he's going to have to deal with, but pleased with his ability to handle it so far.
I know there's certain ways that Treylon could still end up on the roster at some point, but at this point, is it likely that his tenure is probably over?
I mean, hard to say at this point. Maybe we waived him injured, and if he doesn't get claimed, he reverts back to IR, and he's in the normal IR process. So at this moment, don't really have much more to add to it as far as conjecture goes.
After the whole offseason of the penalty emphasis and everything, is there at least a tiny bit of symbolism that you get to the stadium, your defensive line jumps off sides on the first play of defensive line period, they jump off sides, I think, on the first play of the team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see that. Now in a drill, I get it, a drill, but yeah, I don't want to see it in a team period. Certainly, that's one of the things that we're trying to do a better job of. Those guys are trying to get off the ball too and time up the cadence. That's part of it. But yeah, certainly don't want to see free 5 yards for an offense, and don't want to see our offense take away 5 yards for us either in the same vein. So had a penalty or two at the stadium. You're going to have penalties, but it's the ones that I think that we can control, that we got to do a better job of. So yeah, don't want to see it, and we address it and correct it, and we keep moving forward with it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
There is Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan. We react to that and get practice started coming up next.
It is 8:06. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Tennessee Titans news yesterday, the Titans waived 2022 first-round pick Treylon Burks, who suffered a fractured right clavicle during opening practice last Saturday at Nissan Stadium. In a corresponding news, the Titans officially announced the signing of former Tennessee Vols and Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Ramel Keaton to the roster. If no one does claim Burks on waivers, though, he would revert to the Titans on injured reserve. Today, the Titans put pads on for the first time in training camp and getting ready to hit the practice field in a few minutes if they haven't already. Head coach Brian Callahan just spoke to the media and talked about what he's looking forward to as the next phase of training camp begins.
The offseason into the training camp portion, now we actually get to do some real football. We get to fit up and thud and see guys come off the ball and work on block combinations and playing off combinations and linebackers fitting and all the things that you want to see in pads. So today should be a fun day, and I'm looking forward to it.
In NFL news this morning, the Washington Commanders have placed guard Nate Herbig on the reserve/retired list. Herbig was a 5-year veteran that spent last season on injured reserve after tearing his rotator cuff and now ends his NFL career. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, Tuesday morning, continues on Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Players are on the field, a big huddle being broken down. The first padded practice of Tennessee Titans Training Camp 2025 is underway. Alongside Ramon Foster, Kirby Allen Kirby, Robert Walsh, I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins back at our 104.5 The Zone Studios. A swarm of Zone personalities and analysts and hosts descending upon Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Practice is getting started, and Ramon, you took notice of some conversations happening pre-practice.
I did, man. Today is a new day, man. All things that happened before now really don't matter to the guys out here in full pads. As much as I can possibly say, I guess is wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert, man, is stoking the fire. Not only that, he's got a bottle with a hole at the top of it spraying gasoline on the flames is what I'm telling you. And I laugh because I'm thinking to myself, here's a guy that coaches a totally different position that needs some physicality, but not all talking trash to Jeffrey Simmons. He is he's writing checks that he don't have to cash later today. Don't fight. Don't start my battles. Let me start my own battles is my mindset.
Referees out here today.
They are.
Brian Callahan talking about some of the penalty stuff and some of the mistakes from last season that this team wants to address. And I tell you what, the mood around practice, the vibe down on the field downstairs, I think suggests that we might get a spicy day. Of padded practices here from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park.
And it should be, man. Like Coach said, within reason of you punching a teammate or grabbing a face mask, all that type of stuff, it's an expectation, to be quite honest with you, Will, that you do have a couple of skirmishes and some aggressive, plays that have to be made. Man, this is football that also teaches you restraint, too. It's that part. Where's your limit that you're willing to go as a teammate and as a player? I'm not mad at the last push guy. I'm mad at the guy that don't understand that there's another rep for you to get him either later in practice or tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's
right.
A smart team. Okay, you got me now. Next drill, keep your head on the swivel.
One note from Brian Callahan we did not hear on his press conference or in his press conference that I think was maybe noted as he was walking off. Blake Hance will not practice today. He has a calf injury. So that's your Titans swing tackle who has been playing a little bit of guard as well. Someone who was brought in essentially, Ramon, as a utility backup who will be unavailable today. So the cross-training of Jalen Duncan and John Ojukwu will continue with that group behind your starting tackles in Dan Moore and J.C. Latham.
Yeah, and this is what camp is about, too. These injuries happen. We were in the group chat yesterday speaking about some players on other teams that had injuries, man. It is the next man up. That's why it's the beauty of what training camp is and why you got to do it every single day. You figure out what your team is made of, and not just the starters. It is depth that has to be built in these situations, Will. It's putting yourself in the best possible position as a coach to find the best 53 that you can have active in these moments. So I'm excited for the guys that's behind Blake Hance and just everybody else involved in it. That's the beauty of what this process, why training camp is so long, too. It puts you in bad situations.
What do you want to see from Dan Moore today?
Consistency. Level of play from the beginning to the end of practice stayed the same. If we can see him compete in one-on-ones, Will, and just not just then, because one-on-ones can be slated one way or the other as it pertains to who has an advantage or not. Some think it's the defense, some think it's the offense. Screw that. Put him in those settings, okay, but also allow him to be good in those third down plays that they're going to have in practice today. I believe Dan's a really good run blocker. His ability to finish blocks is something I saw on his tape a little bit last year. When we get an opportunity to have a sit down with him and just having a conversation, respectfully, I want to ask him, what is one of the main things that Coach Bill Callahan has taught him as it pertains to finishing each play, and not one play is like the other?
We are expecting to have Dan on the show this week, and hoping to actually have him on Thursday and be able to catch up with him this week, as their practice schedule allows us to talk to guys right after practice this week. So hoping to be able to bring that to you in a one-on-one with Ramon and Dan Moore this week. Walk me through what it was like going through individual periods with pads against defensive linemen, because we heard Brian Callahan mentioned a few minutes ago, it is valuable in that it is a chance for guys to work on their craft. It's not telling of a guy's ability to pass protect or not. It is still a drill that is skewed defensively, but it is the right drill for technique. What kind of technique, Ramon, would you be working on in a one-on-one drill against a defensive lineman?
First two steps in my hand placement. That is so crucial, because if I know how to set you up, let's say if I got a tight 3 technique, it'd be idiotic of me to not work my tight set to where it's 1-2 instead of 1-2 in those settings. Understand his body, understanding where my hand placement have to be at in those moments. Even if I lose and the guy beat me inside, as long as those first 2 steps were pretty good as it pertains to where I set up at, I can correct the next day. A loss isn't a loss in these settings unless it continues to happen every single day, Will. That's where you want to see that growth, man, when it comes down to guys. If you are playing on the edge like tackle, like JC's, to be quite honest with you, his development of redefining where he is on the right side of the offensive line, where is his angles at as far as cutting guys off? Does the weight loss translate to his ability to be late out of his stance? That's some stuff that he's got to figure out, too. He's lost 20-plus pounds this offseason, so watching him adjust to the newness of his movement, I think is going to be crucial. So, Will, is it vertical? Is it outward with his stance? And his hand placement, too, having to reshift from left to right.
The one thing I think is interesting today, we maybe haven't talked about a ton, that Brian Callahan just mentioned as well. And again, we'll play you some of this audio as we continue here. We got Austin Price coming up here in about 5 minutes, but we will continue to keep you updated on what's going on beneath us. But the part about one-on-ones, receivers against DBs, when you can press receivers on the line, and when you can now be more physical with pads on against the pass catchers. I think that's one area today, Ramon, I'm really interested to see how it impacts Cam Ward's timing. And if Elikai Manor and Chimere Dike as the rookie wideouts, plus obviously the veterans, take a half beat longer to get off of the line of scrimmage, how does that impact Cam Ward's timing and ability to know when his guys are going to be in a window where he can unleash and hit them in stride?
Yeah, because these are grown men. These guys understand and know technique better than any player they've ever seen in college. Well, they have the weight, they got the muscle to back all that up too. And you're right. There will potentially be a new change in the timing that these guys have today. You may see tip balls, as we heard Coach Callahan say. Young quarterbacks always feel they have the ability to throw over guys. Well, again, this timing is a little bit different today with the incorporation of physicality. So I kind of do want to see how Cam adjusts to those guys more than them, to be quite honest.
Coming up, start of Vols fall camp tomorrow on the practice field today with a press conference. VolQuest's Austin Price will be in the building for that and brings us the latest on Boo Carter's status as a Tennessee Volunteer as well, coming up next. Live from Tennessee Titans training camp, Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. The glass breaking, meaning that we transition to a couple minutes of Vols fall camp discussion because there is a lot to sort through in Knoxville, Tennessee. Joining us to do that this morning, VolQuest's Austin Price at Austin Priceless, where you follow him on Twitter. Austin, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. We got media day this afternoon. We got the first day of practice coming up tomorrow morning, and fall camp is here, and a fall camp with a ton of unknowns, which is, I think, for fans, a little bit scary. For media, kind of exciting, just because it's a long 30-day stretch, and it gives us something to watch for. Versus kind of like when you know who the quarterback's going to be, when you know a lot of the positions, it is a grind to get those 30 days. But for us going in not knowing who the quarterback's going to be, not knowing where some of the positions are going to land, it's a little more intriguing, a little more interesting.
It certainly is, Austin, and certainly interesting to learn what is going on with Boo Carter as well. What is the latest on Boo's status, and do you see him being out there today or on the practice field tomorrow as practice number 1 begins for Josh Heupel and his team?
I think it's still to be determined. He is back in Knoxville. I believe he will talk with Tennessee staff today and kind of get a game plan and see what transpires. We'll know something, I think, sometime today. Josh Heupel obviously will meet with the media at 12:45. Maybe we find out before then, maybe we don't. But I think for Boo, he's got to do right by his team, his teammates, and that's where all this is going to circle back to. When you are not around your team, when you are away from your team, it puts you in the crosshairs with your team. And I think right now, Boo's got to figure out what he needs to do to make up for the fact that he's been away from his teammates. And you have players on this team that have been grinding, that have been putting the work in, that have been sweating and doing all the things you have to do in summertime. And then you have Boo, who missed a chunk of time. And I think for Josh Heupel and company, it's all about finding, what's best for this team heading into, fall camp, because ultimately your chemistry is the most important thing you have going.
VolQuest's Austin Price, our guest. Austin, do you see the Tennessee player-led leadership group making that decision for Josh Heupel? Is this ultimately a Josh Heupel call? What will go into that process of deciding Boo Carter's status, and how much of a say does a guy like Miles Kitzelman, Joshua Josephs, or some of the other veterans on this team have in making that decision?
This is a Josh Heupel decision, but absolutely Josh Heupel is going to take into account what his leadership council has to say. If you've got your team saying, we want this guy on our team, then you're more likely going to give that kid a second chance because the players are going to bat for them. If you have a situation where the team is like, we're better off without this person, then it makes things a little bit more dicey for the head coach on what he decides to do. So I think ultimately you're going to lean on your leadership council, get their collective decision, but at the end of the day, Josh Heupel is the leader of the program. He's got to make the decision that benefits Tennessee the best. And ultimately, I think this comes down to a conversation with Josh Heupel and Boo Carter. And Boo's got to, present well. He has to show his mind is in the right place, that he is, contrite and wants to be a part of the team and will, be a good teammate for his team. And if those things happen, then I think Boo, again, has a path to being back on this football team.
We're joined by Austin Price this morning of VolQuest. Austin, when you look at his situation, I think it's been clarified a little bit that he either plays for the Vols this fall or there's no pathway for him to walk on to another destination. How is that different from, I think, the Wisconsin transfer that's walking on at Miami, that's essentially paying his way in school to walk on?
That's a great question, Ramon. I continue to be told he can't go anywhere else and play. because, and correct me if I'm wrong, the kid that went from Wisconsin to Miami did so during the spring, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
So he went during a window of time.
Okay.
I think that's the difference. Otherwise, like, what's stopping? I mean, in today's era where you can, where like Deshaun Bishop was a walk-on, but I mean, he was getting NIL money to pay for school. What's stopping anybody from going and trying to poach some of these players in the middle of the summer? Ooh, I need a corner. Let's go get this guy from this school. You can just walk on here, and you can just leave whatever you want. Like, I think there's a difference there. And again, I could be wrong here, but I was told it's either Tennessee or nowhere for Boo, based off of there's not being a window of time. There's not a portal window right now.
No
and
doubt.
The kid from Wisconsin, I do believe, went and transferred during a portal window. Again, I could be wrong there, but I'm almost positive he transferred during a portal window.
Yeah. With that being said, I feel like we can hammer Boo all day, but there are other questions that have to be answered this fall, man, and it's namely the special team side of it for me because the Vols have always been solid, I feel like, in special teams. Coach Eckler's not there. He's in Nebraska right now. What do we expect from that unit, man, and is it in good hands as it pertains to the changes they've made and the excitement, I guess, with Coach Eckler is keeping your chili pepper hot and all that type of stuff, man? Where are they at in that land of the hidden points and yardage?
Well, the good news for the change in the direction, and listen, they've had coaches that have been having very much of a hands-on approach with the special teams that weren't Mike Eckler. Okay, Mike Eckler was the name position coach or the special teams guy, but he had several QCs that were doing a lot of the work, and then Coach Bonamago comes in and. Obviously he's got a long history of coaching special teams in the league and or, in college. And the good news for that group is who your punter is.
Yeah.
You know who your kicker is. You know who your kickoff guy is. And to this point, you know who your punt return guy was. And we'll see what happens with Boo. But at this point, you're just kind of trying to find who your kickoff guy is or are, depending on how many you want back there. And then, again, depending on what happens with Boo, who your punt return guy could be. So I think that's kind of where you're at. Obviously, I think you won't see a whole lot of change as far as your kick units, when you're defending it, on a kickoff or on your gunners on a punt or any of that stuff. I don't think that changes really at all because, again, Eckler leaves, but the core group of guys that have been helping with the special teams, they're still there, so they'll run the same stuff they've been running.
No doubt. When you look at this situation, I always like to use the Mad Men Don Draper quote. That's what the money's for. When you talk about Heupel and the decision he's got to make moving forward. But if he finds himself in a situation where Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre become the starter this year, does it complicate Faison Brandon's situation any at all moving forward?
Yeah, obviously. I think that the entire time, Nico was going to be the starter this year. Merklinger was going to be the backup. George was going to push to be the backup. That'd probably be the three for right now. And it was going to be a full-fledged quarterback competition in the spring of 26.
Mm-hmm.
Then it changed. Now, if Joey Aguilar wins the job, then it kind of goes back to what you thought. But I do think it tweaks it with Merklinger because Merklinger knew he wasn't going to be the starter in March. And then when Nico left in April and everybody put QB1, all over social media, it changed. I think it changed Jake Merklinger's outlook and his expectation. So if he doesn't win the job this year, does it make him feel like, I'm probably not going to win it next year? And I think he may view this as his one shot. I know Jake is approaching things right now like he's the starter. He's approaching things like Joey Aguilar never came, and it's his role, it's his job, it's his, this is his moment. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he doesn't win the job, how does he react? Because, you'd like to have Merklinger, George, and Faison battling it out in spring next year. And players know. I mean, how many times did you go through fall camp, Ramon, and go, I know they're saying it's a competition, but This guy is definitely better than this guy at this position. So players know. So I do think it can shift things if somebody else not named Aguilar is the quarterback. I don't think it really affects Faison, so to speak, but I do think it can affect others on campus, depending on how this whole thing plays out long term.
Austin, has your confidence level changed at all that Joey Aguilar is going to be the Week 1 starter in a month against Syracuse? How do you kind of handicap that competition, and what is your feeling on who's got a leg up, if any at all, going into that competition really ramping up tomorrow when fall camp begins?
Well, experience-wise, he has the leg up. But experience in the offense, he has the least of it of anybody. So that's the biggest detriment for him. So he's got to prove he knows the offense, knows the terminology, can handle the terminology to a point where it's second nature. He's not having to look over to the sidelines. He knows everything inside and out. And that could be a tall ask, knowing that he just got here in the middle of May. So he's got to do all that playing relatively mistake-free. He can't go out there and turn it over a bunch of fall camp and expect to be the starting quarterback. So that part of it will be interesting to me to see how all that transpires. I do think, if you're asking me to give percentages on it, to me, he has a better than 50% chance to be the starter. I'm not sure it's like some crazy amount, because ultimately he's got to go out and prove himself. But again, I think the experience that he has, and again, his maturity. He took 2 years off before he went to JUCO. He's 24. He's the same age as Hendon. So, like, from a maturity standpoint, he is an older player, whereas Jake Merklinger is, maybe 20, depending on when his birthday is. So, like, that's a big deal, 4 or 5 years in life. I mean, think about how much more mature you were at 24 than you were at 20. And I mean, I've still got some immaturity in me at 42, but I still am much more mature than I was at 34, right? Yeah. So I think for him that he has to rely on the experience. I think Merklinger has an absolute shot to win the job, but this is his moment. He's got to go. He's got to hit the gas pedal. He's got to go out there and make plays in fall camp. And the one that's playing to me with no pressure is George McIntyre, because he knew back in March he was never going to play unless it was a blowout situation where they got to the third string quarterback. And now all of a sudden, I think it's changed his mindset. Now, I still think he sees himself as a long shot to win the job, but he can just kind of go out there and freewheel it and, see what happens. So I'm intrigued to watch it all transpire. I wouldn't shock me at all if you're hearing during fall camp, tell you the one that's making some plays is George McIntyre. Again, I don't think he's going to win the job, but at the same time, I think he's got a real shot to, kind of challenge for the number 2 spot if he has a really strong fall camp. So, which goes back to who can win the job out of the older two. I would still lean Joey Aguilar, but I do think Merklinger can absolutely win it with a strong fall camp.
Austin, I think one of the biggest competition and just talented groups on the field is the tight end group this year for 2025, man. They could really utilize 5 guys, I feel like, this year. How exciting is that for a Josh Heupel offense?
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever get to that amount, just because I just don't think they'll play. I mean, and especially when they'd love to get back to going tempo more, where they don't rotate as much. But I think for Alec Ablin, there is a peace of mind knowing, okay, you have your veteran guy in Miles Kitzelman. You have a guy who's been in the program 3 years now in Ethan Davis. And then you have some young guys that, have shown a lot of promise. Jack Van Dorselaer had a fantastic spring.
Yes, he did.
And then Deshaun Brain said, okay, I see you, Jack. And then it turned up the heat all through summer. He's the one with the most upside in the room. Like, the guy who has the highest ceiling is Deshaun Brain. Because he has things physically you can't teach as far as his speed, twitchiness, all that. He's got to prove he can play with his hand in the dirt and be a blocker. If he shows he can do that, then watch out for Deshaun Brain. That's always kind of been the notion, is Jack Van Dorselaer plays, because he played defensive line in high school and is a little bit physically bigger and more physical to that point in his career, was probably more ready to play right out of the gate. But Brain has put on weight. He's up over 230, and again has a certain skill set that most tight ends don't have. So that one to me is really worth watching to see who becomes the number 3 behind Ethan Davis and Miles Kitselman.
He is Austin Price of VolQuest on 3, joining us Tuesdays at 8:20 here on the show. Vols fall camp getting started. Presser today, practice tomorrow. We'll have you covered all the way up to week 1 and beyond. Great to talk to you, Austin. Appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Austin.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price of VolQuest and on 3, joining us as we, from Titans training camp, turn our eyes to Knoxville for a couple of minutes. Well, practice has started. You've not missed much. Warming up, individual periods. Again, we had Austin on during a time of practice where we knew guys are getting warm, guys are getting moving, they're installing things. There's not much we can really tell you that's happened.
I can tell them what we've seen.
What have you seen?
A bunch of pushing, jerking, hitting, acclimation to shoulder pads.
Nothing
hitting,
abnormal.
Yeah,
nothing we could really dissect.
Special teams.
That's about to change because one-on-one's about to start. We'll tell you what's happening beneath us here at Titans training camp coming up next. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling as Titans practice begins. We have got a run period in front of us, Ramon. And we have got wide receivers versus DBs one-on-one on the middle field, which we cannot comment on.
No, cannot.
We can only comment on the run game happening in front of us. And so far, what are you seeing?
Competitive, very defensively competitive, if you know what I mean, Will. If I can allude to that deep pass right there, completion, that was beautiful.
I think we are embargoed from anything happening on the middle field.
Oh, we really from the
That's
middle?
what I just said. Yeah,
I just said
we
deep
can't talk
pass.
anything.
I didn't say who.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't say
No,
who.
you're good.
Hey, come get me.
You're good. No, that comment was fine. I'm just trying to keep us out of trouble on future ones.
What I'm saying, though, is the defensive line is low, explosive up front, man, more than anything. If you're asking me who's off to a good start, it is that defensive line. Specifically, one of the bigs that this team will be counting on this year had a beautiful quick arm over in the backfield. Almost untouched in a sense, Will, to be honest with the fans that are listening to us. But again, defenses usually start quicker. This is where cohesion amongst the offensive line needs to be built up, needs to be in a position to where next day is better than the last day type of situations, man.
Sebastian Joseph Day with a stop pretty immediately on Tony Pollard a minute ago during a run period. We're watching some of the backups right now in there. Khalil Mullings getting an opportunity, and again, good defense from the Titans defensive line. I would give a slight advantage, Ramon, to the defense in this run period.
Intensity is overmatched at this point, the way I'm looking at it defensively. And this ain't a bad thing. I would feel bad if the defense was on their heels the entire time. They are attacking. And the script is, Will, team run, probably the way you set this up, just so you can tee off and go.
Yeah, you know they're running.
Exactly.
Defense,
This is a big challenge to the offensive line to find your combo blocks and at least gain a blade of grass as it pertains to their jobs right now.
So one-on-ones happening with receivers and DBs that we cannot dive into. However, run periods in front of us once again. We're watching some of the backups, some of the younger guys in there. Khalil Mullings with a decent run up the middle. I imagine that's got to be tough, Ramon, in a run period where the defense knows you are running it on every single play, and they know what you're doing, yet you don't know 100% what they're doing.
Facts. They could be stunting. They could be moving the line of scrimmage. The linebackers could be in a position, Will, to where they're blitzing the A-gap. But this is what it's all about when it comes down to how you go about doing your job and building a team. Get busy. You're going to be in a position, Will, to where you have to fight fire with fire. You got to start striking it up as it pertains to the gasoline that you're pouring on this thing. So ain't no fault of it. It's just the job that has to be done, man. This is the beauty of how you become a better team in training camp.
We've got a special guest up here.
Yeah, we do.
Ron Slay just made his way up to the terrace here. Let's see if we can maybe coax him into doing a little bit of practice observations with us.
A.K.A.
perhaps?
Savage in here, man. Jeez. That was a great pull, I will say, too, Will, by the right guard on that last play. That was a beautiful play.
I like it.
By Andrew Rupsich. Defense is meeting them at the point. Again, when there's no play action involved at this, they should be close to the line of scrimmage.
Oh, there's a blow-up right there. Otis Reese in the backfield, and he is getting a lot of love from the linebackers. Cody Barton and Arden Key immediately sprinting up to him to dap him up after that one. That was a thud from Otis Reese in the backfield that time.
I'm just going to say this, too. We hadn't talked enough about him, Otis, this offseason because of the James Williams effect of his ability to kind of gain that starting role. I also like to add something, too. If we don't mind stereotyping somebody else, labeling somebody.
Whatever you'd like.
I got a feeling Cody Barton got a little ratchetness in him, too, by the way. He in the middle of the pile. He got these red sleeves on right now, man. He got a little swag to him, Will. And listen, I've known guys to say that play that position right there. Let me put on as much color as I can. So when you see me, you just see a demon out here. And I feel like that's Cody Barton at this point. Fiery.
Buck Rising tweeting 8 minutes ago, and I quote, "A lot of these Cam Ward deep balls are short and late. One to Io Manor and routes on air just now. He literally stopped to catch."
He literally stopped the catch. You spoke about this, too. This is the release at the line of scrimmage. These guys can get up close and personal, too, right now, Will. So that's the side of it that you mentioned this. This is where he has to also adjust as a quarterback, too.
Sure. All right, let's do some ones versus ones. Team period getting started right in front of us. We've got just enough time to tell you about everything Cam Ward and the starters do here for this next conversation. We're going to see really what this offensive line is made of. A comment on YouTube says, not hearing enough about the offensive line. Unfortunately, they don't seem to be doing too well. Too early to make that comment because we just watched a run team period. And, well, yes, the defense got a good push. Again, the defense knows they're running it every time. So it's a bit of a tricky one to really evaluate. All right, so here is team 11 on 11. Cam Ward going under center for his first snap with the ones after some individual one-on-ones on the middle field. Cam against the first-team Titans defense. Takes the snap, pitches it left. Here's Tony Pollard bouncing outside the hash marks. That's a good run.
About 3 yards on that one,
Gets about, I'd give him 4 or 5 at least. Yeah, sure. I'll be generous.
Right
Peter
right.
Skronsky on the ground during that one, yeah. But well-blocked pitch to the left side by the Titans offensive line there.
Ooh, Peter Skronsky got that walk back to the huddle look on him right now.
He hit the ground there, and you may have heard, if we were down there on the field, the 2 most common words of the first pad of practice: stay up.
Break the
You'll
huddle.
hear that about 100 times today. All right, breaking the huddle again. Here's Cam going under center once more. First team period of first padded practice this morning.
They moving lines right now. Shift just a little bit.
I can't get too specific on it, but here we go. Here's Cam. Play action. He's got time. He's going to air it out long. Got a man deep, incomplete. Intended for Bryce Oliver. That was well defended by Daryl Baker and Amani Hooker, who were both in the area. Seemed like Oliver kind of picked that up a little bit late, Ramon.
Could have adjusted to it. Didn't have, I guess the sight to see it when it went up in the air. Not a bad throw. It hit the ground. That's the best thing about that play right there. When you got 2 guys, one on top and one underneath them too.
Could have been picked also if Daryl Baker had also turned his head. But neither guy able to make the catch. Hits the ground. Here is Cam once again. Some motions that, again, we can't be too specific on. Here is Cam on play action under pressure. He'll flare it out near side. The pass is dropped. It was a little bit far away off the fingertips of Josh Wiley, but it hit him on the fingertips. He probably should have had that one. And another one hits the ground.
Let's just say, if we can allude to it, I think design pressure right there too, by the way. Again, they're going to get him off his spot. That's what teams, I feel like this fall, are going to try to do with a young guy like Cam Ward, is get him off his spot. Cody Barton, moving, Will. He's good in space. And is keying diagnosed too.
Another one for Cam. 4th play for him. We imagine it'll be a throw since you've gone run, pass, run, and now I guess you had screen on the last play, so we'll see what we get here. Here's Cam. It's going to be a handoff. Shows what I know. Pollard up the middle. Got nothing. Jeffrey Simmons all over it and talking, letting the offense know about it.
Sebastian Joseph Day.
Good start for him today.
Really good start for him, man. Been very, very active. That's how that went. If you're wondering who won, Will, can we do that?
Defense.
Yep.
Defense taking the first team period. We've got more practice reaction for you coming up. Hour number 4. Lots still to come for the final hour of Titans training camp practice in pads number 1. Everything you need to know coming up next.
It is 9 a.m. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Yesterday, the Tennessee Titans waived injured wide receiver Treylon Burks yesterday after suffering a fractured right clavicle during open practice this past Saturday at Nissan Stadium. In a corresponding move, the Titans officially signed former Tennessee Vols and Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Ramel Keaton to the roster, and he will be wearing number 14 for the Titans. Today, the Titans put pads on for the first time in training camp, and practice is currently underway with some one-on-one drills and team period. Head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media earlier and talked about what the wide receivers and defensive backs in one-on-one drills when the pads come on.
There's a chance for those guys just to feel, especially our young players, what press coverage feels like. We don't get to work a ton versus press in the offseason because of the rules, and then even when you do, it's the physicality is not the same when you got pads on. And so it's a good drill to work. It's good for your technique, to work your releases, all those stuff. It's great. We'll do it today. It's just part of the process of getting guys ready to go play football on the perimeter. But corners, too. The corners need the same work that our receivers work. It goes both ways.
In NFL news this morning, the Washington Commanders have placed guard Nate Herbig on the reserve/retired list. Herbig was a 5-year NFL veteran for the Commanders that spent last season on an injured reserve after tearing his rotator cuff and now ends his NFL career. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the fourth and final hour Tuesday morning. Live from Tennessee Titans training camp on Ramon and Will. We are fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned all around Middle Tennessee. Locations in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling, Kirby Allen Kirby, Robert Walsh keeping us on air. Justin Hawkins back at our 104.5 The Zone Studios. We've got Ron Slay up here watching practice. We've, of course, got the 11-year NFL vet, Vol Network analyst, and former Pittsburgh Steeler, Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. The ones, Ramon, just getting done a minute ago with another 4-play segment in this 11-on-11 team period against the Titans defense. You gave the Titans defense a win in the first 4 plays. Yep. How would you assess the last 4 plays?
Offense had more balance, and I feel like won that next series right there, Will. But that's also
over the middle, Kevin Winston Jr. had to give a bear hug right there to James Prochet, who would have been
he took a moment to sit down.
Roadkill, respectfully, if this was a regular season game.
He took a moment to sit down and reflect
sure did.
right there. Thank the good Lord for
jarred
practice.
The ball loose, but also everybody stayed conscious and on this earth.
Yeah, he did.
Good night.
That's what Denard Wilson wants.
Anyway, sorry, what were we talking about?
That's what Denard Wilson wants.
We're like kids in a candy store here as we begin hour 4.
But you saw more flow, though, too, from the offense when you incorporated the pass, so the defense got to figure out what's what. You saw play action. You saw down the field stuff, man. It was good. What I will say was there were catches, but not completions. And that's where for Cam and his wide receivers, working that red line, that sideline has to be something I'm sure the coach is going to be preaching going into tomorrow's practices and stuff.
Good tackle a moment ago for Jalen Harrell as he stops Jermar Jefferson, the second-year running back out of Oregon State. And that'll give a little bit of a break to these guys. 11-on-11 period wrapping up. So the last segment of plays, again, you heard the first 4 plays where the defense really got the better of the offense, especially in the run game. What we just saw, a good run to the right by Tony Pollard, a little bit of a missed tackle by James Williams, who was a little bit late, shuffling over to his left, and a good run by Pollard to get by him. Then you have a nice throw to the left side, back shoulder to Bryce Oliver, who made a nice catch on his shoulder pad, Ramon.
Yeah,
but he couldn't get his feet in. It was well covered on the far boundary, I believe by Darrell Baker.
It was. But the touch of the pass to put it on the spot, the opportunity to catch, Will, was there. That's the difference right there is, man, giving your guys an opportunity. I was messing with our guy Kirby Allen Kirby over here, man, by saying, look, I'm asking the ref for the flag on that one. I felt like he pushed me. Maybe not right now, but by the third or fourth quarter, I'm getting that call.
Chimere Dike with a catch along the near sideline a few minutes ago as well. That was a play where Cam Ward rolled out to his right, made a nice throw. But again, like we talked about when it happened, Ramon, That's a play where Chim DK has taken a hard hit on the sideline if he's bringing that in a full contact. And obviously this is thud. This is not taking guys to the ground, and you're not cleaning anybody out as they try to make a catch along the boundary today.
Yeah.
So it makes it a bit more challenging, and it's why we don't take like major earth-shattering takeaways from practice, because it's not 100% real football. However, we are seeing Cam moving around the pocket comfortably, and we're not seeing any big changes in him just because the pads have come on already.
No doubt about it, man. And the other part is the offensive and defensive coordinators share scripts. They want to see plays be made. They want to see calls
match
against
things up with certain concepts.
So you mentioned that who was Alec Ayumaner catch on
Chimray
the side. Chimray DK's catch on the sideline. I'm sure Denard Wilson and his crew wanted to also see if Amani Hooker's going to be on his spot. The catch and play was made right there. But again, nobody's syncing up games like this unless you are in Spygate or something like that in the NFL.
Only Bill's eye in the sky seeing all this.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you're really out here, or if you're Michigan football, allegedly.
Sure.
But
not allegedly, it happened.
It did happen. I'm trying to watch myself here, Will, okay? I'm trying to stay safe from a lawsuit, my brother. But with that being said, though, good on good is how you would probably categorize that last session?
I agree. Yeah, I think you want to see balance. I don't think we want to see any one side just dominating at all times. The best play for the offense, the biggest play for the offense so far would be a run for Tajay Spears up the middle, not just because he found a little bit of a hole, a pulling guard, kind of paving the way for him between the tackles, but there was a late flag and a face mask against the defense within that as well. Tajay Spears is really putting together a good couple of weeks and a good couple of practices. I think if there's one player, Ramon, who has helped themselves the most to me or has looked the most active and successful on offense, I mean, maybe outside of Calvin Ridley and Alec Manor, I think Tajay Spears has had as good of a start to camp as anybody on the Titans offense.
He's most definitely in that conversation right there, man, especially when you're a guy like him that missed a whole lot of opportunity as it pertains to what last year presented you with. We speak about the concussion. I think he came out of games a couple of times with lower body injuries and whatnot too. And this is his year. This is that third year, man. He can really stake his claim. It's second year for Tony Pollard, man. Will, I love all my teammates. Do you hear me? But when it comes down to me versus you and it's a contract year for me, I'm going to try to outshow you. And that's what I feel like Tajay has to be in a position to do. And not only just that, but he can still be a great teammate to Tony Pollard while still getting his, too.
What have you noticed from Cam Ward so far in today's practice? You like what you're seeing, things you don't like? What's the overall takeaway so far? Very early, about halfway through practice today.
Eyes all the way down the field, always down the field. And it's unique, and I know people are probably going to get tired of us bringing this type of stuff up. You don't see the ball leave his hand. It comes out like a slingshot almost. And you just pull the slingshot and it just goes. That's the way his football is. Like, I feel like he got the same arm slot for the 5-yard out, the across the middle, and the down the sideline that he had to a guy like Bryce Oliver. Like, the ball is just there. That's very impressive to me, man, that he don't have to worry about arm strength and putting the ball on the spot.
In front of us right now, an install period, a special teams period, and again, the middle field things we cannot comment on as it happens in front of us this morning. Here on the near side field, quarterbacks and offensive guys going through things at a kind of a walkthrough. Bo Hardigree and Nick Holtz, Brian Callahan, all just kind of working through that at the moment. So a little bit of a pause for us to be able to get ready for the next team period. We are expecting to see one-on-ones today. Brian Callahan meeting with the media. You could hear that in hour 2 wherever you download podcasts if you miss it on the 104.5 The Zone podcast network. Talking about how one-on-ones are slanted a little bit towards the defense and how on offense you are looking for technique, you are looking for hand placement, you're searching for certain process parts of playing the position, but there's not always a clear-cut winner and loser of every single rep because of how it is favoring the defense. One guy you commented on that we were talking about off-air a little bit, and one guy up here who's a listener of the show who made this comment that I'll agree with. For all the talk about Jeffrey Simmons cutting down weight and looking quicker and more agile, Tavondre Sweat really does fire off the ball quickly. And his feet, his movement, he looks Maybe it's just me, Ramon, and I'm curious what you think. He's gliding a little bit more. It's a little bit more effortless for Tavondre at the moment.
It is. Having lived that life, one thing a big man hate hearing, I need you to drop weight. It's just a long pathway to get to that point.
Sure.
But when you see the benefits and what we're seeing in like Tavondre Sweat's body type right now, I feel like it's the same jersey size as it was last year, and he got movement. You know what I'm saying, in that jersey. But you also see that he made some plays earlier too. Like I said, he views himself as a big athlete. You know what I'm saying, and him getting in between the gaps is something I feel like at his size that he's at right now, he's going to be more capable of. When you start seeing that payoff from those gains or losses for a guy like him that he's had this offseason, it feeds the beast even more so, man. He's too much of an athlete to not maximize his potential for what he can mean for this team. He does look different.
As Brian Callahan has said before, there are not a lot of big men who move like that.
No, man.
And I think he's moving a little bit more quickly. And with Tavondre, you don't worry as much about him giving up anything in the run game by slimming down a little bit, because Tavondre Sweat slimming down a little bit is still one of the biggest human beings on the football field.
Preach, Will.
All right, so we're going to get some one-on-ones here, Ramon Foster. Defensive linemen making their way over, lining up with the offensive linemen. So we're going to do a little bit of real-time multitasking. I want you to watch the big men, Ramon Foster, and then 7-on-7 is going to be happening on the right side of the field. So we're going to do a lot of multitasking here. We're going to give wins and losses in one-on-ones, and we're also going to tell you what's happening with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, because obviously, if you're listening to us right now, you want to know how Cam Ward's doing.
No doubt. Draymond versus JC seems to be the first one up. Okay. Even before this drill, the instigator of them all, Arden Key, walked up down the offensive line and said something to each one of them. You got to love this time of the year, man. Also, Draymond is I thought when they signed him, he was a D tackle. He's a DN.
Yeah, he's an edge rusher.
He's a
big edge rusher.
He's a big edge rusher. You're right. He's a big edge rusher. So it's going to be fascinating. Look at Jeff lining up over Zeitler. That's all he want to do is bully the biggest bully on that squad.
There is certainly an intention for this team to collapse the pocket more than have smaller, quicker guys run around the pocket.
He politicking now with the ref.
Yeah, Jeffrey Simmons talking to the head official right now, trying to set some ground rules, and I would love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
You know all he doing is lying.
I'd rather hear the conversation, though, on the front end versus him complaining after a call doesn't go his way. Let's at least try to do some politicking now. That way, if you do something wrong, at least you could say you tried.
Hey, Brandon, in the YouTube chat, Simmons need to be moved by the deadline.
What? Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
We were having a nice time.
We had a great morning
This is a Wendy's restaurant.
Yeah.
Brandon, it's just Tuesday at 9:13 a.m. on July 29th. Moved by the deadline.
Mans has had a good 2 periods over here, Will.
This is the time of year you're supposed to have hope.
Just tell me.
Supposed to be happy.
Tell me you don't like them. Just say that. You know what I'm saying, Will?
All right, 7-on-7 here on the right side, one-on-one starting to the left side. I've got 7-on-7s. Ramon's got one-on-ones.
Oh.
Here is Cam Ward in a shotgun set on first down. First down and 10 for 7-on-7. Cam dropping back to throw. Quick right side. Pass caught. There is Calvin Ridley beating Daryl Baker for a drag route over the middle. What you got one-on-one?
Pass rush JC versus Draymond. JC win that easy. Feet look good.
Okay.
Look at Jeff getting a wide 3 against Zeitler. Set him. Bull. Ty.
Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Zeitler.
Simmons got that one. The bull. He caught him with the stutter bull. I give that Zach Lyons, our teammate, said give it to him.
Tavondre Sweat. I'm going to call that a win on Corey 11.
Yeah, that's a win on Corey 11 right there. Working the edge for Sweat.
Here is Cam Ward back over to the right side.
There you go. That's
back in 7-on-7. And a quick toss left side on second down and 5. That is a first down to Alec Ayamaner. What you got over here on the left side?
My boy Big Skull almost baptized Sebastian Joseph Day right there.
Peter Skoronski with the first win for the offensive line. There's Dan Moore against Arden Key.
Dan Moore with a dub against Arden. Attacked them right there. Well, we 3 of 5 right now. Absolutely.
Offensive line looking solid.
Jahad Ward, Joku. If the quarterback don't move right there, that's a sack. He finished it. That's a finish right there.
We'll do one more 7-on-7, then we'll get to a break and come back for more of the ones. Here is Cam Ward back at the gun. 3rd down and 4 here for Cam. Dropping back with time over the middle. That's a dart to Tyler Lockett. Beat Roger McCreary in man coverage, made the catch. And that is a pickup of about 15 there for your QB1 Cameron
Also
Ward.
condition this crowd, too. When Tyler Lockett catch the ball, he going down.
Yeah, he knows how to fall.
Yeah, he not going to get hit.
Absolutely knows how to fall.
Win by the O-line right there.
We will continue. Actually, you know what? I lied. One more 7-on-7 play. I can't help
James
it.
Lynch.
I can't help it.
Come on, Jalen Duncan. What you going to do right here?
I'm addicted to 7-on-7 this time of year. Cam back at it. This is a first down and 10. Once again for Cam. His fourth throw of 7-on-7. Cam with time, still looking, now rolling right, still looking, throws. What you got there, Slay? What happened? I can't see. David Martin Robinson got it in the flat. DMR with a CATCH. No, you're good. Ron Slay, our spotter up here. Zach Lyon spotting for Ramon as well. We give you more from Tennessee Titans training camp coming up. Live observations from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park continue coming up after this. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, continues in hour number 4.
Good job.
Up here in the terrace at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, we watch as practice continues. 7-on-7, 2 hour right. Offensive line versus defensive line, 1-on-1s, 2 hour left. While we were away, Cam Ward with a couple of nice throws to Calvin Ridley. Just a moment ago, Tim Boyle finds Xavier Restrepo on the right side, and 7-on-7. Ramon, who is your best offensive lineman so far today? Who has impressed you on the offensive side in 1-on-1?
I got to give you 3, and there's no separation in the 3.
Give me 1A.
JC, 1A, JC.
Okay, JC Latham looking good so far.
1B, Skull, Big Skull.
Peter
He
Skoronsky.
has a very unique skill set of jumping the defensive lineman.
How so?
I'm telling Zach Line, that ain't easy. You got to trust yourself enough with your footwork to be able to get on the guy and stop him while he's also reacting. Big Skull, and then also our guy out of Florida, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Looking good so far.
Noticeable. Really good.
Interesting.
The left tackles have had a little bit of a trend, man. They're jumping out to get to the guys, but they're drifting a little bit. What I mean by drifting is, imagine you walking and stumbling and somebody going on the inside of you a little bit, man. That was fascinating to see that from time to time from those guys.
Good rep from Femi Oladejo a minute ago, drawing a holding penalty on Oli Udo. On the defensive side, who has been good on that side of the ball for you so far?
I'm going to be real with you, Will. Let me see. Who's been good on the defensive side? It's a wash. I'm watching the O-line. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
If I can be. Jeff has looked good against Zeitler. I would say Zeitler's got a little bit of and I say this, and it's not a bad thing, but Zeitler's got a little bit of savvy vet camp going on right now. He's doing the job, but this ain't his job in training camp per se. You know what I'm saying? Like, I trust the process of him being fine when the season kick off. Zach, is that how you would see him too? Like, it's Zeitler's been Zeitler. Well, I don't worry about him losing.
And he's so far removed from, the kind of camp this is for Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, the kind of camp it is for Peter Skoronsky, where, like, there are practice players, and then there are guys, like Zeitler, who, if he starts 15 games this year, it'll be a 10th straight season of starting 15-plus games. Like, you kind of know what you're getting from Kevin Zeitler at this point.
Sebastian Joseph Day has stood out.
Okay.
The edge guys.
Good nugget.
Not a whole. Draymond's pretty good. He's the one that beat Draymond Jones, the one that beat Dan Moore on the inside when he drifted a little bit too far. He's got a plan for his rush. I got to take on a young guy. Not sure how much we can go with that one, though, but Zach and I both are seeing the exact same thing from Femi.
Femi Oladejo working on his bag of tricks.
He's
pretty raw still.
Raw. I'm talking about, I like my steaks medium. He's blue rare right now on the first day. Yeah, just a little bit of food poison. I need more than a 3-second sear on both sides is what I'm telling you.
All right.
He's working is what you can tell. This is a process, and I think looking at this first, don't be an IE. Instant evaluation.
Yeah, that's right. It's still July 29th.
Well, you had numerous reps to where you just look at him and say, ooh, okay. But it's early.
What is there with Femi, though, that you can't teach? Like, what do you see as far as his potential goes that you like?
The motor, even when he get locked up, his legs are still moving, his arms are still active. It is having a plan to get to the point that he wants to get to is where I feel like his growth has to come. Now, Borgonzi and Chatham acknowledged this, though, too. They said exactly that.
It's going to take time.
Yep.
All right, we got more ones. 11-on-11. Here we go. Cam Ward in the gun. Going to get things started as they move from right to left from their own 17-yard line. We're going run up the middle, and James Williams got the football loose. James Williams jarring it loose from,
that was
I believe, Tajay Spears that time. Okay.
That has been an emphasis.
James in position and get the ball out.
In the drills we've seen, they have been raking the football and getting after it to gain those extra possessions, man. I feel like more than normal.
That one that may have been blown dead anyway, but good for James playing through the echo of the whistle. Hey, if you're counting it, I'm taking it.
Listen, that's a fine in his team meeting room is what I'm saying. That ball on the ground.
Fair enough.
By the way, I got to say, James Williams, thicker, definitely, this year.
For sure. 2nd down 4. Cam from the gun. 5-man defensive front from the Titans starters on defense.
Nickel Lynn.
Cam will take a high snap from Corey Levin. Play action, throw, right side, caught, flat, Chig. Xavier Woods there to touch him down. They're going to say he's maybe a yard short of the first down. No, they're going to give it to him. All right, they're going to give him the first down there.
And you see in that moment right there, that now, albeit it was a hot snap, but that's also what Femi was good at on the edge, rushing right there. Well, he's putting pressure on Cam Ward at that point in time right there.
So a good throw there by Cam to Chig Okonkwo, working a transcontinental, as Coach Mack would say.
I'm seeing something personnel, man, is super, super unique, man. I know we can't say that over the air, but it says a lot about who they're putting in these moments.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Cam back in the gun. Here we go. Third play here this team period. Some checks made at the line, some adjustments. They're showing blitz. Here it comes. Cam stands in the pocket, fires a dart over the middle, through a window between James Williams and Cody Barton to Tyler Lockett, who's having a good day, Ramon Foster.
Cam handled the pressure well right there. I thought he had a good umbrella around him. Again, eyes down the field, man, and he's going to where he wants to go. Great zone familiarity and friendliness by Tyler Lockett right there, too.
Yeah, he was firing that thing in there, Cam. And James Williams was a little bit upset with himself, I think, for that window being where it was and not getting a hand on that football. All right, here's Cam again. Fourth play of the period. Usually the last one, they go usually 4 each. Cam, quick toss near side is going to be caught, and a little bit of yardage, wheeling upfield, a first down for Alec Iamaner once again. A little bit of a screen there towards the near side. Iamaner just keeps making plays. That's somebody we wanted to see continue the momentum without pads on, now with pads on, and as the physical big target wide receiver. Clearly the added physicality is not an issue for him.
The unique part about that, though, too, Will, is watching Cam get rid of the ball quick. He's getting it and spinning it. There is no thinking of shuffling the ball in his hand. He's catching and going. That's a drill I know quarterbacks work on, too, where you don't have to grab the laces every time you're throwing it. He had accuracy to throw that quick screen.
All right, so that does it for Cam for a minute. So we got Brandon Allen back up here.
It's a run right here. I can tell by the way Joku is in his stance.
It was not.
It's run action.
Screen near side, you're exactly right. Might have been an RPO.
Yep, run action.
Jaquan Jackson with a catch, and then we got a flag late here on the near sideline. I think that is on the offense. I believe they're going to get holding. No, OPI.
Push.
Offensive pass interference, blocking downfield. That should mean, Ramon, that the ball was completed in front of the line of scrimmage. If you're going to block down like that in that first 5 yards, you got to complete it behind the line.
You know what that means? Should have handed the damn ball off, Will. That's what that means.
That you were right. That it was right, Zach.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do the smart thing. Let the bigs work.
Jaquan Jackson is an interesting guy, isn't he, on this team? Brian Callahan's talked about the punt return battle, how really that is starting now with pads on. And again, there are a lot of guys that can catch punts in practice out here off a jugs machine. When the lights come on and there are 11 dudes ready to clean you out,
yeah, man,
it's a little bit different. How does Jaquan Jackson factor into the Titans' plans this year?
I'm going to be honest, be this and a punt returner. He got to make more plays and become more noticeable. Oh, Lord, that's his back gone.
Corner blitz from Gabe Judy-Lally, who held up there on Brandon Allen, allowing Allen to find Xavier Restrepo for his second catch of the day.
Ooh, bring the stretcher out. Am I right?
Gabe held up there. Yeah, no, he could have. He could have absolutely clocked Brandon Allen.
Yes, he could have. Just miscommunication. It seemed like from the back versus responsibilities right there. Seemed to me he was expecting somebody to be hot, and there was a huge miscommunication right there. Brandon Allen, I'll put flowers in that spot for you tomorrow. But Jaquan, though, has to be active offensively. Right. He's got to show more value, man. And the fumbles in pressurized situations got to be good, man. He has to be a whole lot better. You lose your job quick by losing the football.
All right, here's Cam again. We're seeing Cam a little bit more with some of the backup receivers today and giving him opportunities to maybe evaluate some of these backup wideouts. Cam going to fake the give, throw over the middle, deflected and intercepted. Gabe Judy-Lally. A couple of guys going to get credit for that one because a deflected ball at the line allowed that to flutter right into Gabe Judy-Lally's hands. That looked like that kind of RPO action and that slant over the middle, Ramon, and good defense there by the former Tennessee Volunteer.
That right there, we'll see if that becomes a thing. Like I said, we love where Cam holds the ball and stuff like that, but he hit the ball low and threw it low in that situation. All you got to do is get your hands up, and that's essentially what the defense did to get that deflected football for an interception, Will. There may be – I don't know. He's played this way his entire life, so I'll wait to see what happens during the season.
That is the first interception against Cam Ward by a corner here in camp.
Albeit tip ball, though, too, right?
Two of them against inside linebackers, now one against a corner. Yeah, that's right. That one kind of goes to the whole defense.
Yeah, it does.
Gabe, though, able to make the play and still haul it in. So they take Cam back out. Here's Brandon Allen.
Must have wanted to see that play be run.
Brandon Allen. There's Restrepo once again.
Johnny on the spot.
Stop made by Cedric Gray. Well shy of the sticks there on a second down and about 5. We'll see if they're going to go back to a first down. Yeah, they are. They're going to go back to a 1st and 10 for the next play. We were talking about this yesterday, and Xavier Restrepo, and Buck made the point on his show, I know, about it's going to be harder for Restrepo to make the team when everything is being passed to him by Tim Boyle, respectfully. Do you think we start to see Cam mixed in more with the twos and maybe even with some of those third-choice receivers just so it's easier to evaluate who those receivers are with the best quarterback on the team?
No.
Okay.
It ain't Cam's job to appease those guys. Those guys need to move up to the ones if they want an opportunity like that, man.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, no, you listen, there is a pathway to climb up the ladder. It's on those dudes to move up. Cam concern, and maybe it's because they needed to see that screen right there, is the ones and the ones only. You know, in that song, we're going to dance to one song and one song only. And that's Cam Ward moving forward, Will.
Cam back in there. Short run for Khalil Mullings up the middle just a moment ago. Well defended by the Titans defensive line.
Xavier Wood in on that one, too.
Cam once again. Yep, you're right. Safeties are really tight to the line right now. Second down and about 4 for Cam Ward. Moves a man in motion. Here's Cam. Play fake. Steps back. Rolls right. Pressure coming. Dumps it down to Lockett outside the numbers. And Lockett will scurry upfield for first down yardage. One where the defense would claim, yep, we would have had the quarterback there.
Yeah, they would have. My guy Brandon in the chat, man, shout out to you because the dude that you said you wanted to trade by the deadline just put somebody on their backside, okay? Big Jeff just put an offensive lineman feet up in the air is what they would say, screaming for mama at that point.
Vandy Chris writes in and says, Gabe Judy Lally was a Commodore before he was a Vol. Well, for playing that game, he was also a BYU Cougar.
Ooh,
Jalen Hurts is an Oklahoma quarterback. Gabe Judy Lally is a Tennessee corner. Henry To'oTo'o is an Alabama linebacker.
That is.
We move on.
That is.
Cam Ward under center this time. Back with the ones. Motions a man. Hands it off up the middle. There's Tajay Spears. Hit for a moment and then gets free. Good initial push by the defensive line, but nice vision from Tajay Spears to find a gap.
Yeah, it was, man. Good footwork by Tajay right there to get something out of it. Cutback was the D-line is pushing. You got to give it to them. They're moving up front. I think right now in this drill, they're gaining the blade of grass that we were looking for.
All right, let's watch the offensive line here, Ramon, and watch what Dan Moore does at left tackle.
You ain't been watching the offensive line?
I've been watching everything.
What you been doing here, Will?
I'm locking in on the offensive line.
Okay, all right, for sure. I got you.
There's 16 other players out there we got to watch, too.
That's on me.
Including one in a red number 1 jersey that's somewhat important.
Yeah.
I'm not as good at multitasking as you are, clearly.
Peter's pulling. Oh, he jumped.
Play action. Ward drifting left side.
Inside.
In the flat, there is Calvin Ridley for first down yardage. Dan Moore doing a nice job there on Jihad Ward.
Removing his hips back inside. It wasn't as clean as I like it, but did the job get done, Coach? Yes, it did. So shut up, move to the next clip. But it's always room for improvement in this type of stuff. And that, to me, is where I see Dan got an inside post leg strong. The quickest way for them dudes to beat you on the other side is to beat you on the inside of your stance right there. But a good set, got the ball off.
Our good friend Tony Keeley writes in on YouTube and says, Tajay Spears breakout season coming. I went on the record with that earlier this morning. I think Tajay Spears is going to have a big year if he stays healthy.
He will, man.
I think his scheme and the tweaks that Brian Callahan has made to this offense for Cam Ward are also tweaks that are really good for Tajay Spears.
Yes,
and I think you guys are going to see that when preseason begins. Here's Tim Boyle going deep.
Go for it.
Restrepo open over the top of the defense. Xavier Restrepo for big yardage, but there is a flag in the backfield.
D lineman, I saw it. I saw he was lying, throwing his hands up like he hurt. Ain't nobody holding you.
Well, either way, Xavier Restrepo's had a day, Ramon Foster.
Yeah, that's why you let that play breathe.
This is the most that we have noticed. Number 87, the undrafted rookie out of Miami, beat the defense down the field, post down the middle of the field right there. Safety's late to get back over, and Restrepo made a perfect catch in stride. Good throw by Tim Boyle as well.
Also, you got to give credit. Jalen Hurls with the pressure right there that calls that holding call for that play to be called back, too.
Restrepo will still take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll still use that film.
He did what he was supposed to.
Absolutely. That still helps him. Run right for the Titans run game. This is...
Who is that? Well, that is...
hard to see jersey numbers from here a little bit further. Yep.
That's 2-4. Jordan Mims.
Jordan Mims on the carry.
He'd have had a whole lot more if he'd have gone left.
Second-year player from Fresno State. All right, so backups are going to keep going. And hopefully when we come back, Cam Ward will be back up.
Oh, we got to go to break?
We got to go to break. We got one more segment of Titans training camp observations as practice happens, as we will wrap up the show and wrap up the first Titans padded practice coming up next. Final segment, Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, wrapping up the show on this Tuesday. Buck Rising will have Tyler Lockett on the Buck Rising show this afternoon. You'll want to stick around for that. Cover 2, Blaine and Zach, 3HL, have you covered on everything that has happened today. We've got one last team period, Ramon Foster. Cam Ward and the Ones back out there. Here we go. Wrapping up practice.
Oh, snap. Well,
we got one more period.
Yeah.
No, we are practicing
Blitz up
still.
the middle. Way to disguise.
Cam Ward making some adjustments at the line,
guy.
reading some blitzes. Here's Cam. They bring 7. Cam,
Nice
left
job.
side, pressure in his face, makes a throw. And incomplete. I can't see down there.
Roger McCreary.
Not as tall as you.
On the incompletion
Roger
right there,
McCreary,
man. Nice.
PBU to start off this period with the one.
Hands up right there. O-line held up well right there.
Who was that intended for?
That was for Lockett.
Okay. Lockett's been active today. How would you assess the offensive line on the first day of padded practice, Ramon
A
Foster?
whole lot more balanced than it was watching them with no pads on, man. The run game is in the run period always sucks. I do want to see more explosion out of that, though. Tomorrow's challenge for them is I don't care if it is the run period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the offensive line has been really good today, actually. I think they've been solid. Here's Cam.
Got him.
Offsides
Yep, got him.
on
Yeah,
the
come on,
defense.
Tremont. Yeah, hold them
Tremont
hips.
Jones on a 3rd and 5, jumping off sides.
Love a free play, Will. Love a free play, my brother.
So they didn't snap it.
Nope, did not snap it.
J.C. Latham jumping with him after Tremont jumped. So
he reacted.
That's going to move the chains for a first down.
You know what I'll be saying over there, Will, right about now? You
Mm-hmm.
idiot. Watch the ball.
So they are still, just to get the work in, going to keep this a 3rd and 5, but they moved it up 5 yards.
Yeah.
So here's Cam in the shotgun set. Ones versus ones. Cody Barton looking like he's going to blitz. They'll bring a man in motion. Got DK out there with him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see him out there with the ones. Continuing to move DK around. Here's Cam taking the snap. Looking right.
Good. That's
Pressure
a pocket,
coming.
Will.
Steps up in the pocket. Fires a dart left side flat. Complete to who? Who is that, Ronsley?
Pollard. Yeah, running
Tony
back in
Pollard.
the flat.
Thank you. Ron Slay, expert spotter here at the building.
Yes, he was. He was good. Cam was good with his eyes and using his feet, pushing up.
Yeah, that one
to
wasn't
make
a sack.
that completion.
He stepped up.
He
for
stepped
sure.
up. Yes, absolutely.
3rd and long here, Ramon. We're going to see a 3rd and 10. I got to get used to counting yardage again. You can tell we're all in training camp.
Tennessee education showing up right now.
Easy. You got the same diploma as me. Relax.
Oh, no, I just graduated in the early era.
I was told there would be no math.
When teachers taught.
Wow. I was pre-COVID. Teachers still taught me too.
I'm joking.
Here's Cam. Shotgun. 3rd and 10.
Peter.
Man in motion.
Gosh. Peter's so antsy.
Cam takes the snap. 3-step
chip.
drop. Pressure coming. Steps up. Firing deep down the field for Ridley. Just a bit too far, incomplete. Woods in coverage.
Yeah, it was. Peter got to settle down.
That one would have been a sack.
My boy is anxious. What he's got to learn right now, you can go win your battle and how you operate, but this is a one line. We got to be on the same levels right here. And it's a good thing that he's this aggressive. He's probably tested some stuff out is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But them going on different levels allow a defender possibly a sack in Cam's face.
So here's Cam again after the incompletion to Ridley. Seeing Cam start to try out some of those vertical routes.
Same levels O-line. Same levels O-line. Got to be on the same level.
Back in the gun. 4-man defensive front on 3rd down and short.
We got
Pitch
action.
left.
We got
Spears gets around one man and has first down yardage. Roger McCreary will say he had that blown up in the backfield. I'm going to give Spears the benefit of the doubt there that he cut right around the former Auburn corner. And that does it for Cam and the ones here in this period.
You seen them utilize Alec Ayamaner's size too at 6'2", over 205.
Good run blocker, Ayamaner.
On the edge right there, man. Really good. Him, the young fella up right there. That was good by him.
What do you think of Cam Ward's day today? Good day, decent day, not a great day? How would you assess it?
Above average. It was above the line is the way I would look at today for him, man. There's going to be some stuff that he wants back. That pick is a technique thing, I feel like, for him. And also, even when the balls missed, they were in the vicinity.
Blitz coming on Brandon Allen, who throws right side, incomplete.
Who's the running back that took that lick right there? 2-8? Lord. That was Kalel Mullings. Cedric Gray came down.
Yeah, there's a blitz there, and they sent Gabe Giudice from the corner position on a blitz that time. Pass was intended for Kinsey.
Man, you better have your mouthpiece in on a day like today.
Yeah, they're physical at the point of attack. The DBs are with the wide receivers right now too.
Absolutely. It's kind of cool seeing Denard's defense look like it's more settled in. It's the first day of pads, but it looks crisp for what it's worth.
Brandon Allen back in the gun. Shotgun set. We got a couple more minutes here to walk you through practice before the Buck Rising Show coming up in just a moment. Here is Allen over the middle. Pass caught by Chimere DK. Layered over Cedric Gray in coverage. Not a lot of zip on that ball, but the perfect amount of touch from Tim Boyle, who just kind of lobbed that. Not even lobbed. He just kind of placed it right over Cedric Gray's outstretched arms. And big explosive play for Chimere DK. Makes a nice catch in zone.
He beat the zone right there, man. That was real good by him. And watching Chimere get up the field is what you want, too. That speed that this team has been lacking, man.
Absolutely.
It's one thing to get a 20-yard catch, but you add 20 more yards on top of it, you cooking.
All right, here's 2 more plays for the people. Cedric Gray in coverage on that one. We got some of the young DBs out there. This one's going to be 3rd and 5. Chestnut joining Allen in the backfield as Brandon Allen. Titans defense showing blitz. Going to bark out who's got who. They pick it up. They only rush 3. Allen with time over the middle. Contested catch. James Prochet. Coverage provided by former ECU Pirate Julius Wood. That is a first down. Tennessee Titans for a pickup of 11 on 3rd and 5.
You know who we have to remind ourselves of from time to time?
Who's that?
These are NFL caliber quarterbacks. They can make plays, too, when it comes down to them putting the ball on the spot the way he did right there, man. Good job by Brandon Allen.
ABC 2330 on YouTube says, please don't go, guys. Buck sucks.
Even Zach laughed at this one.
ABC, you can hit my Venmo, and I might stick around for 5 more minutes.
I caught a cramp in my side.
We are here for 4 hours, but I got Cash App.
Lord.
If you want to make it worth my while to stick around.
I
can be bribed. Brandon Allen throwing left side. Ooh, nice jumping catch by Gunnar Helm right in front of former ACC corner Marcus Harris for the University of California.
Timmy Horn right there, man. And John Ajuku getting a little extra right there. I like it.
That is our Tuesday morning. Ramon Foster, the ones are going back out there. You'll have to stick around for the Buck Rising Show to find out how they finish practice. Good stuff this morning.
Yeah,
Enjoyed it.
It was, man. Good show, man. Y'all also know your Twitter fingers and that mic is always hot, baby.